In Salt Lake City, a fan base whose dedication and devotion to Utah today bleeds into a fervor, anticipating a Pac-12 South showdown.
Let's go, man. Let's go to work.
Led by a young quarterback with a tremendous amount of poise, Arizona State has delivered plays late to climb to the top of the Pac-12 South. For rush, Daniels steps up, Daniels runs, Daniels, 5, leaping, touchdown, Arizona State.
'Cause you're not me.
Once again, Utah has imposed their defensive will.
Utah runs it back.
And welcome to Sack Lake City.
Led by a senior quarterback who has blossomed, and one of the school's best on the ground, the Utes offense has flourished.
Huntley to the end zone. They got it. Moss breaking a tackle to the outside. 91 yards for Moss.
It's two top 20 teams, Arizona State and Utah, next. Yeah, they're coming prepared for a real football afternoon and evening. Yes, it's going to be wet. It might be snow by the time we're done with a Pac-12 South showdown presented by Land Rover. Two top 20 teams right in the thick of a crazy Pac-12 South. The winner of this, of course, is going to have at least a share of the division lead after play tonight. Arizona State and Utah, we're glad to have you with us for a terrific game on Pac-12 Network, along with Yogi Roth, Lewis Johnson fieldside, Ted Robinson. Yogi, since Utah lost that game to USC, they have very quietly rebuilt their position as a powerful team on both sides.
This is a special team. They've got a dramatically high ceiling. I cannot wait to watch how they compete. And defensively, they're special, Ted. I mean, they've got next-level players at every level. And you just look at the numbers, and it's dramatic, right? One of the best in the country at everything, and they're going to bring it again today. So I cannot wait to watch how this one shakes out.
Well, the other thing we've heard all week long, and we heard it yesterday from the Utah people in person, is how much this senior quarterback has improved.
Oh, he's special. He does it in every way you can imagine. That's under center. You don't see that very much in college football. His patience, his anticipation. He's not playing catch anymore, Ted. This young man is playing quarterback, and watch him as he climbs the pocket. He used to always look to run. Now his eyes are up, he steps up, and he knows, hey, can I fit it in there? Yes, I can. In front of the safety, behind the corner, that is a big-time throw and climb from this quarterback. And of course, you knew this when he came here. He could beat you with his legs, and if you're going to play man-to-man today, if you're Arizona State, look out, because Tyler Huntley will do this exact thing, put his foot in the ground, find the end zone. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch Arizona State schematically try to figure out how to play a guy who I think he's playing the best quarterback in this entire conference right now throughout the season.
That's strong. And Huntley's experienced. Jayden Daniels is not, but you wouldn't know it. In fact, he's already led Arizona State to 2 game-winning fourth-quarter field drives on the road.
Yeah, he's not going to flinch. I mean, this is a guy, remember, he almost came to Utah, and he's been in big environments, as you referenced, Michigan State being one of those comebacks. So he's fired up for today, as is this Utah defense. They want to get after him, put pressure on him, and see if he can get rid of the ball.
And Yogi knows me well. He understands how I just devour the periodic table. So AU is gold. DS Darm Stadium is an extremely radioactive synthetic element. And look at that bottom line. This connection of Daniels and Ayuk has been explosive.
Oh, we're going to see it all game long. Brandon Ayuk is a top 5 wide receiver in this conference. He's a next-level player as well. And he's going to have his hands and his work cut out for him, because he's going to go up against one of the best corners, I believe, in the country in Jaylen Johnson. It's going to be man-press coverage the majority of this game. So if you like matchups, if you love ball, do not turn the channel, man. This one's going to be awesome.
And that's a great call. This is a matchup special. 2 terrific teams with outstanding players and coaches that will go head-to-head. A piece of the South Division lead at stake in Salt Lake. Daniels steps up, Daniels runs, Daniels, 5, leaping, touchdown, Arizona State.
On that play, I was just trying to go to number 2 down the field, supposed to run a post down the middle, but I seen a backer drop back and take it away, so I just seen it open up and then just made a play.
Daniels' third fourth quarter game-winning drive already this year. Yogi today, look at who he faces.
Well, it's the captain, Bradley Eno, one of the top defensive players in the country, came back for his senior season for a reason, and every layer, this defense is special. So it starts up front, and then Francis Bernard. He's the best defensive player this season on film in the Pac-12 South. He's explosive, he's all over the field. And then you got Julian Blackman, the former corner. Now he's that rangy safety. Jayden Daniels has his work cut out for him.
Well, it is a sea of red, including the Moss in Salt Lake City. Kickoff next. Pac-12 football is presented by Land Rover, above and beyond. And brought to you by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. And by 76, we're on the driver's side. All right, it's a day where, actually it's been a week where everybody's been studying weather.com, and no one studies that more fervently than Lewis Johnson. Lewis?
It seems like you have to in this conference, right? Listen, Arizona State coming in here, they're going to face two major challenges today. Number one is going to be the team on the field. And secondly, this is one of the loudest stadiums to play in the conference. Now, Rice-Eccles has one of the lowest in stadium capacity, but they consistently poll as one of the toughest places to play. Why? Well, it's because of, let's call it a relentless, coordinated sound from the mighty Utah student section, otherwise known here as the Muss. So Arizona State already has 2 road wins against ranked teams this season. They beat Michigan State and Cal at their places. But today is going to be probably their toughest road test. And of course, the weather will make it even more difficult. Ted, Yogi, right now the temperature is about 52 degrees and falling. The rain will be off and on. We were out on the turf. It seems to be okay. And of course, all the players have on the proper shoes during warm-ups. They're able to do their cuts, move back and forth. So should be okay for the moment, guys.
And here we go. In Rice-Eccles Stadium, Arizona State making a statement today. They're wearing, they call this ice, all white.
I like it.
Utah wearing mostly red with the black jersey top. And the stadium is all red in support of the Utes as we get underway. Utah won the toss, deferred. Andrew Stroud bashes one out of the end zone. And Jayden Daniels, who found a way, and a great way, as we talked with Arizona State this week, Yogi, to connect with Eno Benjamin on that drive last week.
Check down, check down, check down. He's going to live by a mantra this afternoon into the evening. It's going to be 1-2, check the ball down. That means his first read, his second read, and then give it to Eno Benjamin at running back, because he's going to face a violently fierce defensive front.
When these teams played last year in Tempe, Arizona State won 38-20. A game that had a lot of ramifications. Although Utah eventually went on to play in the championship game, but this is what Arizona State did last year. The single most staggering number last year was they had 50 run plays against Utah, as we see our impact players presented by Wendy's.
Yeah, we talked to Bradley and I about that this week, and he said, we're sick to our stomach. We were embarrassed. This defense took it personally, so expect them to try to stop the run. So it may open up the pass for Brandon Ayuk. He'll be going up against number 1, Jaylen Johnson. They'll be following each other all game long.
And they stop Benjamin for 2 yards on the first down run play. So now Arizona State goes to a formation we have seen them mix in the last few weeks. 5 wideouts. No tight end, no running back. It's 5 wide receivers. And right in at Daniels, forcing him to unload. Pearsall, the intended receiver.
Look, this is part of not only Utah's DNA, but in this game, and Ted, he's unblocked. That's John Penasini. You can't be unblocked in this game.
For all the focus on Bradley and there comes another player. Nika Tafua comes bracing right in. Forced Daniels to unload, and right away, 3rd and 8. And Daniels is hearing the Muss. Oh, and here comes the blitz, and Daniels has to get rid of it again. He took a real shot. Pass off the hands of Ayuk. So Morgan Scalley, the Utah defensive coordinator who blitzed Oregon State a ton last week, brings the house here, and Julian Blackman, the punishing hit.
It's Blackman, it's Bernard, it's Devin Lloyd. This team, their team speed on defense, it's as good as you're going to find, I think, in the country, Ted. I think this is truly one of the fastest, most explosive defenses, and Jayden Daniels, he felt that on the first drive.
You see, and he took a hit, a real hit from Blackman. Terrific opening statement by the Utah defense. Punt away by Turk. This is Simpkins for Utah, and he'll be hemmed in, won't get away. Good punt cover by Arizona State. And so today, how healthy is Zack Moss? They hope healthy enough to compound these great achievements, and if he does, he becomes the all-time leading rusher here.
Well, we had time with him earlier this week, and he said a big reason coming back for his senior year was to leave a mark on this program, and if he could break some of these records you see on the screen, he'll clearly do that. He's excited, he's motivated, his family's flown in from Florida, and I expect they're going to give him the rock a great deal this afternoon.
55 yards he needs to break the record that Eddie Johnson set when he played here in the mid-'80s. That's 3 conferences ago for Utah, by the way. Oh, and a missed hit right away. Moss, a clean run in there by Kalen Curse-Thomas, and Moss made a miss.
Both of these teams are so excited, right? We referenced in the open what's at stake. You know, you kind of the driver's seat in the Pac-12 South. For Arizona State and Tyler Huntley, they know they got to play their best in this ball game. And Tyler Huntley, he's been playing, I think, the best in this conference at the quarterback position.
Well, that would have been a heck of a first down play for the Arizona State defense. Instead, Moss gained 5 yards. Quick swing, lot of speed. Loose ball, play not blown dead. Arizona State picks it up. So this will certainly be reviewed. Damari Simpkins with the huge gain at the end of the play, ball out. The officials let the play go.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Arizona State. First down.
So they call it a fumble on the field, recovered by ASU. That's a little swing screen. Nice blocking down the field. There's a Shari Croswell.
The play is now under replay review.
Look to see what is down. Oh, I think that's a fumble at first glance, Ted, because if the hand is down, you're not down.
And I'm sorry, that is Zack Moss. Obviously, you see on the replay, that is Zack Moss with the catch and the run down the field. And now the question under review. And the officials administered that the way that I understand they're supposed to, which is let the play go, let the recovery happen. You can clearly negate that.
Yeah. The wrist is not down.
The wrist is not down.
Yeah.
Forearm and elbow down.
Exactly.
But not wrist.
That's a beautiful shot at it.
Yes.
To me, that's going to be Arizona State football.
And it would negate a huge play. The ball was eventually picked up by Evan Fields of ASU. So it was Zack Moss on just the quick swing out of the backfield. Mark Duddy is our referee.
After review, the ruling on the field of a fumble and a recovery by Arizona State is confirmed. First down, Arizona State.
And there it is, confirmed.
Wow, you know, you get in big games as a player, you know you can do something special like Zack Moss, and so you're trying so hard for the extra yard, the extra inch, and on that one, to me, that's exactly what happened. He's trying to get a little too much. Shari Croswell knocks it out. Evan Fields recovers.
36 yards on the play, and eventually forced fumble recovered by Evan Fields. First down, ASU. And Benjamin gets hit. So not much of an opening push for the run game for ASU, and Benjamin will get a yard.
It's going to be fun to watch Arizona State. You know, they wanted to create not only turnovers, but get them. They finally get one. They're trying to break that drought, and now here they are offensively, Ted, with Herman Edwards. They got to slow down this front a little bit.
And that was a big number you just saw. Forced fumbles. Arizona State defense forcing 15 fumbles midway through this season. Oh, that's a house call. Devin Lloyd. He's already had one, and he had another right there.
Jayden Daniels trying to get rid of the ball to his left. Devin Lloyd, it's like he doesn't see him. And I think for young quarterbacks, Ted, throwing to their left, that area, you call that the hole drop area where linebackers are going to drop into that hole. They always throw picks there. It's part of the evolution at quarterback. Jayden Daniels, that's a blind spot for him. He got lucky there.
Yes, he did. Third down. So now, can ASU cash in on a second life? Not only a turnover, that should have been 6 points. And the false start here. Both tackles pulled up. Henderson, the 17-year-old freshman left tackle.
Offense number 71, 5-yard penalty, third down.
And a fifth-year player, Steve Miller, the right tackle. But Henderson is the player we've talked an awful lot about on an ASU team that has not been penalized much, but what a challenge today with number 6 there right across from him.
Yeah, well, you're trying just to get a little bit of jump, and you got to keep your eyes on the ball if you're an offensive lineman. It's so loud with these students here.
Kyle Williams motions. And they're going to set one up here for Ayuk. And what can he do after the catch? He gets some, but not enough. Got about 5 yards after the catch. And it's going to put Arizona State into a fourth down punt.
Yeah, this Utah defense, Ted, they're going to bring pressure at times. Then they're going to say, hey, catch it in front of us, and we'll rally to the football. So for Arizona State, they're going to have to try to establish some sort of run game just to slow down the edge. And then when they get the ball in space, they're going to have to make a guy miss.
So Michael Turk out for his second punt. Damari Simpkins, the return man for the Utes. Boy, Turk really smacks this, and it's going to hit and reach the end zone.
Well, this Utah defense is real, and they've made a statement the first 2 drives. Devin Lloyd, well, ASU gets lucky. That could have been a pick 6, 0-0.
Huntley, the senior, is playing tremendous football.
Huntley is special. Tyler Huntley, the level he's playing at, it's led to the best football of his career.
Rushing the ball, throwing the ball. He makes the right reads, makes the right checks, and that's why he has Utah in the position that he does.
His 26th career start, so one of the veteran quarterbacks in this conference, and remarkably, mid-October, he has not turned the ball over this year, not once. And there's ASU with a much better stand on the defensive front. Very thing we talked a lot about last week with their defensive coordinator, Danny Gonzalez. DJ Davidson, a player that Gonzalez singled out to us this week with the first big hit there on Moss.
Yeah, they're going to have to get into the backfield. They're going to have to crease this offensive line. And you'll watch this offensive line on run plays for Utah, Ted. They'll shuffle a little bit more than normal because they're going to see so much movement from this defensive front. So they want to just slow play a little bit of their movement to try to slow down the defensive pressure.
So on second down, a little motion play there, and that's going to be snuffed out by ASU and dropped for a big loss. Jermaine Lole, who had the last play rush on Anthony Gordon last week.
Yeah, he's going to be the end. Watch him with his hands. That's a great job against left tackle Darren Paulo. And he's a talented player. Remember, he was the guy also last year who tackled Tyler Huntley and broke his collarbone. So there's an element of revenge in this game. Everybody knows what's at stake. You could feel that early on.
So that end around run, a -4 by Derek Vickers. It's a long third now for Utah. 4 rush for Arizona State. Huntley gets out up the middle, dump ahead to Moss. Needs a block, runs hard and gets the first down. Well, the very thing that we talked about Arizona State doing so well to win last week, Huntley pulls it off here, just flipping it to Moss.
Well, watch him climb the pocket. You see his eyes? Is there anything? Oh, let me check it down to my high school teammate, a guy who's going to be one of the greats to play at this institution. And I think Zack Moss wants to make up for that fumble, lowers the shoulder, sees the sticks, first down.
3rd and 14, and that little flip gets 17.
I mean, Arizona State, it's exactly how you want to play it other than the third down.
Huntley comes back to Simpkins, steps inside, Fields gets enough to wrap him up and drop him, but that's going to be another Utah first down. More impact players presented by Wendy's.
Well, we mentioned DJ Davidson. Merlin Roberts is the other guy that Danny Gonzalez singled out, number 8. He's got to have a big game. He'll be blitzing off the edge. He's athletic. He's powerful. He needs to show up. And Brian Thompson quietly has kind of become the go-to receiver. Britton Covey, more than likely, they're going to try to preserve a redshirt year for him. Already played in 4 games, still coming back from that knee injury.
Thompson up to the top. Chase Lucas the cover for ASU. Under center on first down. Little play action throw. And that's going to be another Utah first down. The pass to Cole Fotheringham. And that's a little wrinkle Andy Ludwig, the OC here, talked to us about yesterday. Actually putting some pro-style offense in here. Under center. Huntley throwing off legitimate play action.
Well, yeah, Andy Ludwig, you know, everybody in Utah remembers last time he was here. It was huge. There he is in the glasses, the offensive coordinator. Now he's back. And he said when he met Tyler Huntley, he already knew the type of athlete he was, but he's blown away with how much he loved studying the craft of quarterback.
Again, play action. Wilmore in there to block. Huntley takes off. This time to tuck the ball. And this is where Huntley, as if you've watched Utah this year, you've heard the story. He's put on anywhere from 20 to 25 pounds this year, and he has not shied away from contact.
No, and he hasn't shied away from just attacking the position. So whether it's tucking and running, you're not going to see him slide. You'll see him dive to try to get an extra yard or two. He's got a great feel for where defenders are. So you never really even see him take a big hit when he decides to tuck and run.
Utah using its stable of running backs. It's Devin Brumfield in there now behind Huntley on the short second down. And Brumfield breaks a tackle at the line. So George Lee there had a piece of him, but Brumfield fought through that tackle and picked up a couple to leave 3rd and 2 for Utah. And now Robertson, an important player on the Sun Devil defense, still down. And that's going to get us to a stoppage. So the Arizona State team can tend to him. Utah on the move in the first quarter. And here's our Saturday Heisman Watch presented by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
And I think you got to talk Tyler Huntley, man. I mean, he's already just 4 for 4 in this game. He's so efficient. And he's also explosive. Again, he's not playing catch, Ted. He's playing quarterback, and I think this is 4-down territory for them in this part of the field on 3rd and short.
Yes, they have Moss in, but fake to him, throw to the outside, and a good spin, which should be a first down. Brant Keithy, tight end, but the skill set of a receiver, a wide receiver, and he showed it there.
Yeah, and the throw. You know, it's kind of a little sidearm, little pennant race. Well, from Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
But with this tight end group, it's a big deal. You'll see them throughout the majority of this game in 2 tight end sets. Keithy, Cole Fotheringham, they can do a lot from that type of personnel group, and you see it in right here.
So first down now for the Utes. 33 of Arizona State. Moss the back. And he's wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. So Moss has had 2 big pass catches, but 3 carries now, rush carries for not much.
And I think for Arizona State, for as special as Tyler Huntley has played, you got to say beat us with your arm. And you see them on their defensive front. They play that unique defense. 3D linemen, 3 linebackers. The 3-3-5 scheme is what it's called. But you'll see the linebackers creep up towards the line of scrimmage. Right now you see 37, Darian Butler. He's towards the line of scrimmage right here. These linebackers are going to creep and play as though they're defensive ends.
And there's the fly sweep motion, and on the fake, Huntley keeps it. Beautiful play. First down inside the 20.
He's so instinctive, and he just makes those decisions, and if you hesitate just a hair, you're gone, and that's what happened. Kalen Kurz-Thomas, he hesitated, went with the fly sweep, and all of a sudden, a running lane for number 1. And again, Ted, he's just trusting his eyes. The phrase is, can you play with clean eyes? I think this whole season, he has played with clean eyes. He's seeing the defense so well.
Just at the 19, and remember this drive, the key play right now was the 3rd and 14 flip pass ahead to Zack Moss. Off play action, ooh, that one's going to be trouble. Jack Jones had the interior, basically the inside chance to try to make a pick there.
That was a nice job on Jack Jones. Just a post corner.
He knew it was coming, didn't he?
Yeah, he sat right on. He kind of baited him into it. Jack Jones, he's played a lot of football. Remember, the transfer from USC, he's played in a lot of big games. Got tested a ton last week, 10 tackles. Got beat at times but bounced back. They love his attitude, and specifically on the road, they say he's a guy, his moxie is one that needs to help us on the defensive side.
Brian Thompson ended up having to come back and almost be a defender there to save that from being a pick. Now Moss bangs it down at the 15. So he gets 4. That'll be the 4th carry in this first quarter for Zack Moss for 9 yards.
Anytime you talk to a defense, or really anybody that's going up against somebody who's about to set a record, I mean, it's bulletin board, right? Don't let them get not against us.
Not here, right. And so now here's where, what does Arizona State do? 3rd and 6. It'd be a win right now if they force a field goal.
Yeah, to me, I'd want to play press coverage. It's when they're at their best. Right now, it's man-to-man. So if I'm Tyler Huntley, I'm going to take a shot here, throw a slant to any one of your wideouts.
Simpkins at the bottom matched up with Kobe Williams. Williams coming in, and a blitz, and that forces a throw, and it's dropped. Caught, dropped, ruling on the field is what? Are they ruling that a catch and a fumble or an incomplete pass? Player down, Crosswell of Arizona State getting up quickly. The linesman is keeping his foot on the mark, though, at the end of the play at the 11-yard line. I'm not sure what the call on the field is here. Let's let Mark Duddy tell us.
The ruling on the field is a catch, a fumble, and a recovery by the defense. First down.
Yeah, the head linesman kept his foot at the 11-yard line, which is why I thought it was going to be ruled that. Catch and fumble.
Well, a ton of pressure. A nice job bringing it from the boundary. That's Kobe Williams. Gets right in the throwing lane. And then there's the catch from Simpkins.
That's a catch and fumble. Don't you think, Yogi?
Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line, you've got to make a football move.
Absolutely. I don't think that one's hard. I don't think that's a hard one at all.
No, and remember, every single play is reviewed. So the booth takes a look at it, and they say, yeah, it's good, let's roll.
That is a crusher for Utah to have that kind of drive and their second turnover of this first quarter in Arizona State territory.
And they're one of the best in the country. Both of these teams entered this game being among the best in the nation at protecting the ball.
All right, can Arizona State get some offense going here? Ooh. Jayden Daniels. Eno Benjamin might have run to Wyoming if he had gotten the ball on that.
Well, the challenge is when you're playing against Bradley and I in the end, Ted, is that sometimes he can turn his shoulders just a hair, and you might think, yep, I can beat him around the edge. And then you realize that Bradley and I is not your standard defensive end. I mean, this is a dynamic athlete.
Benjamin was all the way to midfield. He just got back there into the formation. That'll be an interesting tape study for Jayden Daniels this week. Gain of 1. Pressure from Penasini. Daniels breaks away and then gets out to gain a yard or 2. And right now, Utah, the defensive front, Yogi, seems to be asserting itself.
Yeah, and they're special when they don't have to bring anybody extra. And just take a look at these guys, right? You got Leki Fotu, number 99, as the crowd just gets rocking. Bradley and I, Penasini, I mean, they're dudes, let alone the linebackers and the speed they can come from depth. And this group right here, Ted, they feel as though they don't have to bring anybody extra and they can get home, and that's going to be critical on this 3rd down.
Right now, it would be hard for ASU, for Daniels to get much going passing, as he doesn't have time. So they run Benjamin, and Benjamin is going to get to the first down line to gain. So on 3rd down, Eno Benjamin has his first effective run.
This is a really nice job by the offensive line, just giving him a crease. Left guard, and then Cole Cabral gets up on Devin Lloyd. And when Eno Benjamin can get it and boom, all of a sudden goes fast, hit the gas, not kind of wait and read, especially against this front, he'll have the ability to have a little bit of a crease.
Got up a little bit gimpy to Benjamin after a 9-yard run and a first down. So an empty backfield, and Daniels can't get out. Anai wasn't letting him go. Bradley Anai, who's going to follow in this great Utah defensive tradition. His grades this year for the people that do that are through the roof.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, you see, he did such a great job of playing with his eyes. And, you know, you can go all the way back in time, right, in terms of the Kruger brothers, Star Lotalele. I mean, there's so many D line. Yeah, there's so many. And the way they teach is they teach them to play with their hands and their eyes. So when he saw all of a sudden Jayden Daniels coming back inside, he changed his direction and all of a sudden made a play.
That's a sack for a loss of 2, and the 5th on the year for Eno. They're allowing substitutions to
delay
be made.
Of game, offense. The offense initiated a late substitution.
Yep.
5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Well, this happened last week, and I was perplexed. And so David Coleman, supervisor of the Pac-12, did a good job of saying, look, this is there's no measure to protect the play clock here when there's substitutions. The defense is supposed to match its substitution in a respectable manner. Yeah. But that case, there was a late sub, and that's exactly what hurt Arizona State last week.
Yeah, it's the responsibility of the offense. Yeah. And here's the responsibility right now of number 1, Jaylen Johnson against Brandon Ayuk.
There you see Tommy Hudson, the tight end. He's there to help Henderson, the left tackle, against Eno. And so we're going to get a timeout taken here.
Timeout, ASU.
Arizona State trying to get its offense untracked.
Mark Willard in San Francisco with your Land Rover studio update. Oregon trailed by as much as 14 in this game, but here's Justin Herbert's 4th touchdown pass of the game. Goes to Jaylen Redd from 5 yards. They reviewed it. It's good. Oregon is up 35-31 late. Ted, Yogi, back to you.
Well, that's the kind of day that Justin Herbert will want to have to elevate himself in Heisman conversation. And of course, if Oregon wins that game, the North is, it's not official, but it's just about over.
Yeah. Wow.
Hard to say that in a mid-October. All right, here we go. 2nd and 17. Eno Benjamin is back in the game for Arizona State. Pass. Ooh, that one, luckily for Arizona State, tipped at the line, but it falls into an empty spot. And right now, Daniels just can't get, anything going on offense. 1 first down, 19 yards so far.
Well, it's tough because they're only bringing 4, right? They only rushed 4 on that one. But they're getting such penetration that you can't throw an intermediate route, let alone one down the field.
That's pretty much a football truism. If you can pressure with just 4, you will win.
Yes.
And most of the time, right?
And this is Utah's defense. They've been building this way for years, so it's that front 4 right there against the 5-0 lineman.
Benjamin alongside Daniels. Here comes a 5th on a blitz. Picked up nicely. Daniels tries to get away, but he can't. He tried to get out of that pocket through the middle, but those defensive linemen react quickly. Penasini, the first man. The Daniels gets yardage, but not nearly enough.
Just look at the penetration. And Jayden Daniels is great at climbing the pocket, but the defensive front, like Lecky Fotu, they're great. Right. The phrase is retrace, right? You get 2 steps up the field, and then can you retrace your steps and get back to where the quarterback is running? And then look at the coverage at the bottom of the screen there, Ted. I mean, that's the matchup. Jaylen Johnson, so physical.
That's a great call. Fotu and Penasini, the 2 interior guys, both making sure that they don't let Daniels get away and find open field. Turks punt, his 3rd so far. And Simpkins, again, good cover by Arizona State. And nothing there on the return. Here's another measure of Utah's defense this year. This is another key statistic. What do you do on first down D? Look at that. Look at the margin by which they lead the nation.
It's crazy because you just ruin the call sheet of the offensive coordinator you're facing. So today it would be Rob Likens, and you can't do anything. Today they're averaging 1 yard, Ted. 1 yard on first down. So 2nd and 9, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 7 or longer. It's so hard just to create some momentum on the road with a young O-line and a freshman quarterback.
Well, Herm Edwards has seen it all, and as we know, star of small screen now after the HBO performance of this past week, which was, I think, very nicely done. Nice defensive play here. Again, Lole with a big TFL for Arizona State on the fly sweep give to Dixon.
Well, Utah really felt that this fly sweep element of their game will be big today, and the athleticism of this ASU defensive front, Jermaine Lole being one of the most athletic guys in the conference at the end position, is showing up. If I'm Utah now, Ted, I kind of run it right at them. See if they can handle that, because here we are coming to the end of the first. It's 0-0, and Utah's dominated the first quarter, but Arizona State has survived. And to me, that's kind of been an element of, you got to say you've been impressed.
There, Utah's going to let the quarter clock run out. So Utah, another example of why yards don't mean a whole lot in the sport, because the scoreboard registers points. Utah had all the yards but 2 turnovers. And so no points after the first.
November 3rd, 1973, number 8, Arizona State brought the nation's longest winning streak to snowy Salt Lake City for a showdown with Utah. Don Van Galder hit Willie Armstead for the 5-yard touchdown as the Utes built a 30-3 halftime lead. All-American quarterback Danny White got the Sun Devils back into the game, finding a diving Woody Green to cut the lead to 14. But ASU could not overcome 10 turnovers as Utah would hang on for the 36-31 victory.
Unbelievable story there, as you can see how the weather has turned during this quarter break. That was a WAC game. Both teams were in the WAC that year. The Utah won that game here. It was the only game Arizona State lost all year. They went on to win the Fiesta Bowl against Pitt and a young running back named Tony Dorsett. And ASU beat him in the Fiesta Bowl. So good memories. Woody Green, who you saw in that clip, is the all-time leading rusher at Arizona State. Same achievement Zack Moss hopes to gain today for Utah. All right, second quarter starts now with the rain coming down. Utah's been through this a couple of weeks ago here against Washington State. 51 degrees or so, so it's going to be raw as darkness settles in over the stadium.
Yeah, we were here for that game doing the Pac-12 pregame show, Ted, and you didn't see Utah stop throwing the football. It kind of didn't matter, and Tyler Huntley has commanded the system, has commanded certain throws, and I believe receivers, when it's raining, it's big advantage because you know where you're going. You can manipulate and set up the DB.
All right, 14 yards on that throw to Brian Thompson. 3rd and 2. ASU big across the front here, and
that's going to be on Jaylen Dixon.
False start. Offense number 55. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So ASU had lined up 7 or 8 across the front. Much different than we saw from the ASU defense last week. They played almost 50 snaps against Washington State last week with 6 defensive backs on the field.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Not tonight.
No, they're going to load up this box, see if they can slow down the run game.
Empty backfield there on 3rd down. Quick Huntley throw, and Jack Jones again jumps the route, and this time he has a pick and maybe a 6 slip through his fingers.
Yeah, and this is one with the weather. I mean, when the ball is slippery like this, Jack Jones, he's waiting and waiting, and he's known to bait quarterbacks, bait wide receivers, did exactly that, drove on the slant. But those are some ones where you want to, you got to try to body it up just a little bit in the rain.
Well, he's done that twice so far in this first half. That's impressive play by Jones. So it'll be a Utah punt. And, well, it didn't look very good. In fact, it was ugly looking, but statistically it's going to be beautiful with that roll. Ben Lennon with the punt. And that, boy, shows you stats can lie.
Well, and that's a stat they wish they had. It was an interception. The drop from Jack Jones, 0-0 early second.
Back in Salt Lake City, Rice-Eccles Stadium, where the temperature and the weather conditions have plummeted, and I mean quick. When this game started, we were right about 52 degrees. We've already dropped to 45, and the rain now has increased. Over the last several minutes, guys, our Arizona State coaches are trying to figure out how they would get some offense going. But watching the players sit out here in the rain, in the cold, remember last week it was about 90 degrees in Tempe. Completely different situation here.
Yeah, Lewis, hang in there with us. And there's a little throw to Hudson, the tight end. He gets out to the 28. You saw that note, and Arizona State, if they can win this game today, in the history of their football program, they've never beaten 3 ranked teams on the road in one season.
Just another thing that Herm Edwards is doing within this program with such a young team. And think about what they dealt with in the first quarter to settle in now. Oh. Bad snap. And it's important to remember, you can get a new ball on every snap.
Yes.
You know, so the officials, their job is to run it in, but if you want to go up tempo, you're going to get the ball that is on the field.
Come on, I was a manager for 2 years. I had that assignment several times. Game balls, 1 on each side of the sideline. for that very purpose. But that cost a few yards. Now the third down play is 6. Benjamin alongside Daniels.
Man to man.
Benjamin leaking out, but he's covered. That's where Daniels was looking. And he just launches one. I think that was a little bit of a real look at Benjamin, but Utah had him covered.
I mean, it was awesome coverage. There's nowhere to go for Jayden Daniels. You know, guys got to win at the line of scrimmage. Utah was saying, we're going to play man-to-man, have one deep safety. Can you beat us? And Jayden Daniels, the clock that he has back there is not what it's been in weeks past. It's 1, 2, 3, and the ball's got to be gone, or somebody's going to be in your face, and that's exactly what happened.
Again, here we are into the second quarter. 1 first down for Arizona State. 25 yards of offense. And Michael Turk getting a workout. He belts another good one, but Simpkins going to have a chance to run this back. Had a head of steam when he caught it, and he gets a first down plus a couple of yards, almost to the 40. So very good drive start for Utah on what has become a wet Saturday. Doesn't affect them. Doesn't bust the bus. A big Saturday. Important games both north and south in the Pac-12, and we imagine a few of you have just joined us after watching Oregon win what had to be a terrific game at UW 35-31. Both quarterbacks put up terrific numbers. But Oregon is in command, and just raise your hand right now, wherever you are, if you had both Oregon State and UCLA having 2 conference wins by the middle of October.
Totally, and one of them beat each other.
Yep.
You know,
that's right. All right, here we go. This play doesn't start cleanly on the first down
Ball
for Utah.
Start. Offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And this is a frustration for Utah because they've owned just about everything in this first half, field position included. Great drive start here at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, this feels a little bit like SC when Utah lost. It was they dominated so much of the game but just hadn't scored, right? So ASU, they're surviving right now. And for Utah, they got to put the hammer down and, to me, run the football.
Great spin. Boy, Moss stuck his foot in that turf and executed the spin move perfectly, and he gets it out to the 44 for a 9-yard gain.
This offensive line, watch Orlando Romana, number 50. 1 guy, 2 guy. They get a little taste from the left guard, Braden Daniels, and you're right, Zack Moss. He's an elite rusher. I mean, he's a big-time guy. Every pro scout we talk to every weekend on the road, he's the first back that's referenced out of this conference.
So that's a nice first down run of 9. They still have 6 to go. And Moss trying to bounce and won't get there. Robertson back in the game for the ASU defense, strings that out. Stops it for no gain. Moss talks about the back that he most watches, tries to model, Marshawn Lynch. I never saw Marshawn do that spin move, though, did you?
No.
That's not his repertoire.
No, I'll tell you, he reminds me of a guy I played against, and you called a bunch of his games, is Frank Gore. That's the style in which I see Zack Moss. He's heavy, and you hope he's okay as he's kind of limping.
They're going to have another man down at the end of the play in Salt Lake, so we'll step away. Very proud mom. Parents made the trek from Florida to be here today for what they hope is the record-setting day. Moss right now has 18 yards rushing, so he needs 37 more.
Yeah, there's a great story on them this morning in The Athletic, where before every game his mom texts him, "Hey, Zach, be awesome."
Yep.
His mom says, "Yes, ma'am, I will try."
So third down now. Brian Thompson was the injured Utah player and went into the tent behind the Utah bench. Huntley pressure, but he has an open receiver. And a big gain all the way down to the Arizona State 30-yard line goes Brant Keithy.
This is big time right here, Ted. That's Brant Keithy. Watch the route he's going to run, and the window, the zone, is wide open right there. You see that? That's easy. Tyler Huntley, he threw it right before he even turned around. That's anticipation from the quarterback, understanding where the defense is deploying to, and that's why he's playing at such a high level.
26-yard play. And so that puts Utah in Arizona State territory for the 3rd time in the first half. Moss is the running back, leaks to the bottom. Pressure. Huntley gets out to the top. Asks for a block, gets one, and gets close to the line to gain. He got 9 yards there. Out of the 21.
He's such a threat. Watch his eyes the whole time here. His eyes are up as he breaks the pocket. Threat to throw, and then, let me direct some traffic, get a little extra, get out of bounds.
And he was directing Vickers, who's not a big guy, but he made Vickers throw that little block. Vickers just got enough of Crosswell on that block to get Huntley a few extra yards.
Well, this receiving corps, Ted, they live by the mantra, no block, no rock. And they blocked their tails off last week. This receiving corps named the position of the week because of the way they block.
So Moss now lines up pistol behind Huntley on 2nd and 1. And gets the first down. So Moss just slithered there and got 3. First down, second red zone trip now for Utah.
Execution, and Arizona State makes it difficult in the red zone because of the scheme, right? You see the 3 defensive linemen right now near the ball. It's that 3-3-5 scheme. So as an offensive front, you don't know who's coming and who's not. So you got to shuffle. We talked about that in the first quarter. This O-line against these guys, you don't know when a linebacker's going to become a DN. So you got to slow your eyes down a little bit in the run game.
Not as much of a running back rotation in this first half. It has been a lot of Moss. And he's going to bull his way down near the 10-yard line. So think about this, what we've seen. That's the 8th carry already for Zack Moss. Since the BYU game, the last 4 games for Zack Moss, he's only been on the field for 44 snaps. That's crazy. Just hasn't played a lot. But good to go today. Now they give it on the fly sweep. And that play will get to the pylon, and in for the touchdown is Jaylen Dixon.
They've ran this so many times this game. First time they get positive yardage. How about the block on the outside from the tight end and the receiver downfield? That's a nice job. Everybody gets a little bit of assist. That's Solomon Enos right there at the end. And Dixon does the rest.
So there's your drive, and again, it started with the good field position following a punt. And the biggest play was a 26-yard pass to Keithy that pushed Utah into Arizona State territory, and their frustration for the day ends. They get their first score.
Well, so many elements of this offense. The fly sweep coming right at you. How about the block? It's Solomon Enos getting a little bit of Chase Lucas. Touchdown, Utah on the board. And welcome back. And there's the fly sweep. How about Brant Keithy on one block? Solomon Enos on the other, and Jaylen Dixon, he finishes it off. And how about the excitement right there from your OC? Not a ton of excitement, but, you know, good play call. Give me a sip of water. Let's do it again.
And yet a younger assistant down there in the front that was pumped, Andy Ludwig.
Yeah.
He's been around for about 107 years, so he's seen it all.
Yeah,
and that's the way they're supposed to work, right? When you've done it long enough.
You only draw them up to score.
Andy Ludwig, good. Really good resume. And it was funny because Kyle Whittingham yesterday was incredibly complimentary of the mesh, bringing Ludwig back after a decade.
Talk about
the way the two work together, yeah. Short kickoff here that's going to be run back by Ayuk. He's trying to make a play, and he does something here with the return. Ayuk, and a late flag that comes in may negate a lot of the impact of a terrific kick run back by Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, there was some collisions there, Ted. On the front line, there was a bad one.
It's Curse Thomas, an important player on the ASU defense
During
coming off.
During the return, personal foul, blindside block, return team, half the distance to the goal, first down.
And so the stung Utah player, Solomon Enos.
Yeah, he gets right there.
Yep.
Both of them collide. Kalen Curse Thomas.
Well, if you would like just another visual example of why the kickoff return will be gone, just a function of when.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I give it another year. Every other year, remember, they can propose rules and then make the change.
I'm speaking for myself, obviously. I'm not speaking for anybody else. I'm just saying I firmly believe it will be gone. I just don't know what date.
Yep.
All right, Arizona State. They understand now exactly who they're playing, the elements in which they're playing, and they need to find a way to get their offense going. And this is their guy. They've got Benjamin with a good hard run, and that's just about 10 yards. And the first down. Eno had 175 against Utah last year.
And you see a change on the offensive line. Nice run. You see number 63 at the top of the screen. That's Roy Hemsley. He's now playing left tackle for the true freshman, Ladarius Henderson, as well as Cade Cody is in the game. Where Cody was going to start the season playing center, got injured 3 days before the opener. They see these two guys on the O-line.
All right, they marked him down just short, so it's second down and about a foot. There's that shift again over to help against Bradley and I. And boy, Benjamin, offensive line just gets blown up there, and Benjamin pays the price. Loss on the play.
John Penasini, Francis Bernard. I mean, these guys are real, Ted. They're physical. They use their hands. They burst the line of scrimmage. Look at that. I mean, it's the right spot, but Francis Bernard runs right into Cade Cody and says, it's been a while since you played. Welcome back.
Just pushed right back into Benjamin. So what looked to be a first down run by Benjamin didn't get a great mark. And now that play winds up 3rd and 3. And that's how significant you see the significance of the mark of the football there. Because that would have been looked like a first down for ASU, and instead they can't push at all on back-to-back run plays.
Yeah, and they're trying to run to that left side. Remember, 2 new offensive linemen in there. Roy Hemsley, Cade Cody in the last 2 snaps. The push from Francis Bernard. There's Morgan Scally, the defensive coordinator. That was impressive.
Morgan Scally, who talked to us yesterday and gave us some wonderful information, and then about half an hour later I heard him on the radio with Bill Riley, the terrific voice of the Utes, and he said the exact same thing. Just so we thought we were getting some privileged information.
Consistency, right? And that's kind of been their defense.
Heck no, but he's done a terrific job. Former safety here at Utah's our Ace Hardware game summary. Zack Moss's numbers right now, he needs 26. He has 29. And despite the 2 turnovers, Utah has dominated everything else, and they have a 7-0 lead. By the way, I want to give a real quick, send our condolences along to our Pac-12 Network colleague Ben Braun, the longtime Cal basketball coach. Father Zeb worked in Hollywood for a long time, passed away several days ago. Ben always spoke so glowingly of his father and the impact his dad had on his life. Huntley trying to get away and then just launches one down the field. Ooh, took a shot there to see if Dixon could run underneath that. Darian Butler with the good pressure.
It was nice pressure, but even an incompletion, it's a pretty strong throw. Kind of throwing off his back foot, just launches it up there. And again, I just think he's underrated as a passer, Tyler Huntley. And I think as you watch more and more, obviously today already over 130 yards throwing in the rain, in the elements. He always knows where his guys are supposed to be. Give him a chance.
It's 2nd and 10. Dixon got a block from Simpkins, and then recovery run out of bounds by Davis. It'll be short of a first down. Well, this is a name that still lives on in Utah football history. Alex Smith, who had 2 magnificent years here as the quarterback. So yesterday, I asked Kyle Whittingham, fill in the blank. Tyler Huntley is our best quarterback since, and he immediately said Alex. And that's a great compliment. Whittingham's been here for all of it. He's seen them all, and there have been some other very good ones like Brian Johnson, who you saw in that picture. But that's the level right now that they feel Huntley's playing at.
Illegal substitution, offense, 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
You got a hold of 41.
Hey, get off the field, sir.
Now you have 2 Utah coaches out on the field, and that's a sensitive sensitive part for the referees this week because the crew working the USC Notre Dame game last weekend blew it. And Brian Kelly was on the field during an onside kick. And obviously, the crew on the field didn't see it, obviously, but it was very strongly pointed out. Huntley, boy, there's the strength. He was wrapped up and could not be brought down, and then the second time came in with a very late flag coming out of the secondary. And that is what Utah wants. Boy, they have no interest in seeing anything like this.
Oh. Let's take a look. It's Amiri Johnson, the true freshman. He's only played in one game this year. And it gets him around the head, and then it's Lole again.
Ooh, and that, don't know, but the right leg looks at just looks to be at an awkward angle. You can see he's grabbing behind. Is he grabbing back at his left leg?
Unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 37. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Nightmare. This is the play that ended Tyler Huntley's season last year in Tempe.
And it was Jermaine Lole, number 90. It was all clean, but he just fell on him, and he fell awkwardly, and it was his collarbone. And he worked so hard this offseason, put on over 20 pounds, you referenced earlier, Ted. And we were there calling that last year. You could feel the pain just watching him, seeing it on his face. He's done everything. We tell you referenced Kyle Whittingham saying he's the best since Alex Smith. He raved. I've never heard Kyle Whittingham talk about a player in our time covering him on the Pac-12 networks like he has Tyler Huntley, and you just hope that it is something mild and not serious because he has put in every ounce of his work ethic, his heart, his soul to this position in this craft.
The man who replaced him last year in Tempe and played well down the stretch last year is Jason Shelley. They also have a junior, Drew Lisk. Those are the next two quarterbacks.
And Jason Shelley, he's had spot play throughout this year, but it looks like it'll be Lisk.
Yeah, 6'1" junior from Draper, Utah. Lisk has thrown 6 passes this year, completing them all, and Lisk gets the call here.
And they like this guy. We were here in spring, here in training camp. They talked about him. He was number 2 on the depth chart the first few weeks of the season, which was a surprise to all of us.
So the penalty against Butler gave Utah the first down despite the sack, and there's Butler, the man who was penalized, comes back and makes a good stop on the first down run.
So now if I'm Arizona State against Drew Lisk, everybody's in the box. I'm saying play man-to-man because you're already confident in your secondary, and you're saying, you know what, Drew, beat us with spot throws because we are not going to beat us running the football.
There's Huntley walking, not yet to the injury tent. Vickers fakes the fly sweep. Moss gets the handoff, and he can't get out of that. Arizona State really had that played out to the edge well. Crosswell there on the first hit, and a loss on the play.
And so much of Tyler Huntley, of course, is how he plays, but it's the other stuff. It's the intangibles. We talked to Nick Ford earlier this week, Zack Moss. Everybody talked about he is the alpha. Kyle Whittingham's quote to us yesterday is he is our alpha leader. So not only the performance and productivity on the field at quarterback, Ted, but the wind out of the sail.
Well, that's it, Yogi, you know. I mean, it's been a tough year in this conference. We've seen, how many schools have we seen had to go 3 deep? Stanford, USC, Cal today. All right, Moss trying to make it happen, and Moss does it. Close again, and with a flag on the tackle. So Moss got close to the first down line to gain, and then it appears to be a targeting flag, which has left both men down.
Oh, everybody was going at full speed, and it was just a collision that you hate to see. Lisk will check it down, and here it comes.
It's actually number 4. Fields there is going to be the foul. 41, Johnson is the player down, but it's Fields.
Oh, man.
That is, and that is precisely.
And we see that.
That's precisely, I mean, it's been said a lot, but it's true. This is exactly the hit that football has to get rid of.
Yeah.
That's it. That's. I think that'll be another one that'll take 4 seconds to review.
Yeah, and we see this a lot in full speed.
But this is the other issue. Zack Moss still down. Mom watching. A day that is supposed to be celebratory for Zack Moss.
Foul. Targeting. Defense number 4. The previous play is now under replay review.
Automatic review because of the targeting, because that involves disqualification.
Yeah, and Tyler Johnson, Ted, he got the knee of Evan Fields to the head. You see that sometimes when you're making a tackle.
Johnson, 41's bringing him down. He stays down. And you said watch the right knee. Oh, a double.
And then he gets the left leg.
Yeah, or left leg, you're right. Double hit.
Oh, you just hope that Zack Moss is all right.
Now that's doesn't erase the concern on Mom's face, nor should it.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 4 has been confirmed. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, automatic first down. Number 4 has been disqualified from the game.
Well, Arizona State having a bad defensive series here. They've hurt themselves terribly with 2 15-yard penalties. And the second one also costing them the services of Evan Fields.
Yeah, and it's unlike them. You know, usually they play and can handle the emotion. This one, at least on this drive, it's been difficult for the Sun Devil defense.
With Drew Lisk as the quarterback, now with Moss on the sideline, it is Brumfield, the running back. And looking for the shot, looking for the big ball, but Dixon doesn't get outside to the boundary. Gets the cover of Kobe Williams, but here's a chance now, even with their backups, quarterback, backups at running back, and if Utah puts this ball in the end zone on this drive, I know it's the first half, it's going to be awfully significant.
Oh yeah, I mean they'll just try to squeeze the life out of him on the defensive side. So this is a critical play. This is a fringe area. I think this is 4-down territory for Utah.
Arizona State there, another good defensive play by ASU, leading there. Let's go down on the sideline to Lewis.
All right, so as you can imagine, quite busy down here. So Tyler Huntley came out of the tent just as Zack Moss was going in. He was running along the sideline, kind of checking some things out, just got some tape on his left ankle, and you could see him telling the trainers, I'm talking about Tyler Huntley, I'm good, I'm straight. We'll see if he does go back in the game. And right now, again, Zack Moss in the tent being looked at.
Yeah. All right, that's at least better news for Utah than last year's loss of Huntley. TJ Pesafea just made that play for Arizona State. There's a ball just on the back hip of Solomon Enos, who can't hang on. And now decision time for Utah, 4th and 9.
Yeah, they run a simple post route. It's a timing pattern. And you got to help him out a little bit. That's a catchable ball for Solomon Enos. And when it's wet a little bit, as a receiver, you want to drop down at times and use your body. So you can get a slit on that one, allowed the ball to get to his chest because of it being a wet ball.
So on 4th down, here come the Utes to go. And now, timeout. Kyle Whittingham was waiting.
30-second timeout.
Huddle broke, and
Utah,
Whittingham takes a timeout.
First of the half.
2:52 here in the half. And again, the way Arizona State's offense has struggled in this first half, 1 first down and 33 yards, 2 touchdowns, going to look awfully huge.
I'll tell you what, that right
Look at
there.
that. There you go. There's your sign.
Just exhale for not only Utah fans, of course, but for college football. Like, we've seen it too much. Quarterbacks go down. There's been 19 different starting quarterbacks in this conference this year. Good to see.
Well, the crazy thing is that how many teams have had to go to 3.
Yeah.
That's, you've had, quarterbacks that have stayed in there. Herbert, Eason, who went head-to-head today. Gordon at Washington State. There have been plenty of guys that have stayed out there. But when you have to, no college team thinks, and as I've said multiple times, whenever you want to judge USC this year, just remember they've had 3 different quarterbacks win games for them.
With a brutal schedule. And how vintage is it to come back in on a 4th and 9?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Brumfield, the running back, so still no Zack Moss. Arizona State brings a 5th, but Huntley stands in. Boy, he saw that 5th man coming, and he knew he was going to get hit. There is a flag down, and it may be for the hit.
Yeah, this is so big time. Think about the emotion. The stadium was crazy. Everybody on their feet. He could have thrown it up to the end zone, but he didn't. He checked it down to his tight end while taking a shot.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 8, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Now, this has been a very difficult defensive possession for Arizona State. 3rd personal foul, and that was the hit that Huntley saw coming. It still delivers the ball to Vickers.
Yeah, and look, you got to play aggressive. I get that. That's what ASU's about, but Merlin Robertson's played too much football to make that careless of a hit.
3 personal fouls on this Utah possession. And now the Utes, a little less than 7 yards away from really delivering a shot to the jaw of ASU. Fly sweep again. And down to the 3. So Dixon, virtually the same play that scored a touchdown. It'll be 2nd and goal.
I'll tell you what, Ted. I'm not a gambling guy, but if I was, I'd say number 2 is going to get the rock right now, Zack Moss.
That's another great sign. Moss checked and cleared and back. DJ Davidson from behind. Moss dragged him a little bit, but he couldn't drag him all the way to the goal line. So Moss gets it down, looks to be right just about the 1-yard line, 3rd and goal.
And they love this personnel grouping. This is their very heavy personnel grouping right now. They felt coming into this game they'd be able to run the football. Can they do it here? Short yardage goal line situation.
And before they can snap it, Herm Edwards raced down to take a timeout.
They're second. 30 seconds.
So coming up, our State Farm halftime report. We'll have a look back at this first half and a lot of highlights from what, again, I can't wait to get home and see it tomorrow. Oregon, Washington, the Ducks, and the Beavers with a 2nd conference win. But Oregon, I would hope that today, and the way it appears they won that game with big offensive day, Herbert going off, that the folks who opine a lot about this, you've got to have Oregon back in the conversation.
Come on,
just in the conversation.
And to do it on the road. I mean, that's where they've struggled the last couple years. Big-time road matchups. They haven't been able to win a lot of them. To go to your rival down in that stadium, to have the poise to be able to come back and win. You're right. I can't wait to watch that one.
Speaking of important figures in college football, we have another person we lost this week, Don Bernstein. He was a sports information director at Washington in the 70s. It became a pivotal figure in ABC Sports when there was such a thing in their growth of college football in the 70s and 80s. All right, here we go out of the timeout, 3rd and a yard. And there's the yard and the touchdown for Zack Moss. Mama says, yeah, that's awesome. $73 yards on that drive and a chunk on 3 defensive personal fouls.
Unforced errors. Well, you're in this stadium watching this game. You can feel the energy when number 2 is back in the field, back in the game, and he finds the end zone for a touchdown. Tyler Huntley, Hallandale High School. Zack Moss, Hallandale High School. They're fired up. And Cassandra, who watched a lot of those games at Hallandale High School, now watching them here at Rice-Eccles. Yeah, I'm going to fist bump or two, Mom. Oh, yeah. I give that a little bit more emotion right there. They're fired up, man, and they should be, Ted. 2 of the best players in the history of this program. They're going to go down as they're out on that drive to come back in and finish it. I mean, that's why we love sports, why we love this game.
And you can see the frustration bubbling up on the Arizona State sideline. Very animated conversation with Shari Crosswell just coming off the field. That was just not an Arizona State, a typical Arizona State defensive series. And now they are, given the way this half has played, they understand the hole they're in. 2 touchdowns down when the Sun Devils have not had any offense yet. Best play they had was an IU kick return. They got wiped out. He gets another decent one out just across the 25. Well, that's been a problem. They haven't been able to get Ayuk the ball.
Yeah, he hasn't done much. And Herm Edwards talked to us about it this week. To get Jayden Daniels going and to slow down Tyler Huntley, they need to deal with the emotion of the game. Play with passion, don't play with emotion. And I think, at least on the last drive we watched, a little bit uncharacteristic for the Sun Devils in the Herm Edwards era. And now, see if they can get something going here with a minute left, because Utah's going to get the ball coming out of the half.
1 timeout. Benjamin trying to make something happen. He got just past the line, and there we get the extras at the end of the play. Quickly separated. Cabral of ASU, and a Utah defender carried that beyond the line, beyond the end of the play. Play itself gained 3. Mark Duddy stopped the clock there to untangle the players. And now he starts it again, in Arizona State content, it appears, to let the half go.
Yeah, they got Ladarius Henderson back in at left tackle. Trying to run the ball.
Well, Benjamin gets some yardage there, but still will be short of the first down. And
that's going to be on Utah right there. That's extra on them. Back got pushed at the end of that. That's the right call, because this was getting a little tenuous.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 42. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. This is number 42's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
Mika Tafua called. Man, that is the definition of a clenched jaw, isn't it? Oh, Kyle Whittingham?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Look at that.
Well, you just can't hurt yourselves, right? I mean, that's the name of this game right now.
All right, ASU has a timeout. So now with the ball just shy of midfield, they take a shot.
I would. They haven't taken a shot all day.
And get the ball to Ayuk. Actually, there he runs it out, but Daniels is coming the other way with it and can't get far. In fact, doesn't really get much past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, this defense, Ted, they're just so strong, so explosive, and look, we got to be truth tellers, right? Herm Edwards, Donovan West, true freshman, right guard, not having his best game. Darius Henderson, he's been in and out. It's just hard. I mean, they're playing against guys that not only are older, more physical, but they're next level players. I mean, this isn't just a veteran defense that Herm Edwards and his offensive line have to face. This is an NFL caliber defense with that defensive front.
And that's the coordinator of it all, Morgan Scalley. Starting to get a lot of chatter around here about his coaching prospects. So as I greeted him yesterday, rock star.
He is. I can remember him when he was playing.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, look at that. I mean, it's impressive. And for ASU, you got a chance to take a shot here. Remember, Frank Darby, he's probably the fastest guy in the field, number 84. Going to be at the top of your screen right there.
Those rush defense numbers you saw there, second in the nation. And that. So here's the play for ASU. Well, may not end the half. There's a flag on the play. And the ball is going to be intercepted by Utah, so that should end the half. Tariq Lewis on the interception. Flag had the look of a holding foul, but there's also a flag, two flags now back down where the interception occurred. So a busy last moments of the half here for Mark Duddy.
Didn't think we'd get into the double digits in penalties by the end of the game, Ted. We're already there at half.
And again, ASU only 5 per game coming in, 6 in the first half. So you had 1 foul during the play, and I believe the 2 flags that were thrown back where the interception occurred are fouls after the play. That's, I believe, what Mark Duddy's discussing here.
Yep. And a lot of times after interceptions, that's when you kind of see some of those.
Yep. That was the foul during the play. No announcement there, so I don't know if that the personal foul in Utah occurred after the play.
Yeah, watch Jayden Daniels. He's just going to get a little. Yep. I mean, I didn't think he tried to light him up, but I get why you got to protect.
It's funny, if those flags are, if the flags and the foul against Utah is for the hit on Daniels, those flags are thrown 35 yards down the field. Mark Duddy was looking right at it. But his might have already been the flag thrown for holding. So he may not have another flag.
There was a lot of flags.
Well, the difficult part of this scenario is on a cold, wet night. You can hear the reaction to these kinds of difficulties in administering fouls. Utah team is about ready to get to the tunnel there. Oh, everybody's waiting here for.
I think they're trying to figure out where the ball is going to be spotted and then what Kyle would want to do.
The result of the play is an interception. During the play, holding offense number 71. Utah has declined that penalty. After the play, dead ball, personal foul, Utah, number 1. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff. The previous play is now under replay review. Do not leave the field. The play's under replay review.
So it wasn't the hit on Jayden Daniels.
There is no replay. Correction, there is no replay. The ruling on the field has been confirmed. The half is over. The personal foul against Utah will carry over to the second half kickoff. The first half is now over.
Wow. That was a lot.
There it is. Interesting half, that's for sure.
Well, it just rings out. I mean, Arizona State's offense virtually nothing.
They struggled protecting.
2 first downs. All right, let's go down to Lewis.
Well, Coach, a couple scary moments there with Tyler Huntley and Zack Moss both go out, but your thoughts on them returning and leading you to a drive and a score?
They're both tough kids. Obviously, the medical staff cleared them, and they're competitors. What can I say?
All righty, and your defense now holding Arizona State to just 2 first downs. Your thoughts on that and how you continue?
Defense is playing lights out. Offensively, we're moving the ball. We had the 2 turnovers in the first half, both in our territory, 1 in the red zone, or else could have been a little better issue for us.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Okay.
Ted?
Well, that's it. This would have been probably a knockout at halftime if it were not for the 2 fumbles by Utah. But it was all Utes. The Arizona State Sun Devils flying in here with a lot of hope. But the Utah defense has won the first half. And by the way, we had a terrific game in Seattle. Let's go to our team there with Mike Yam, Nigel Burton, and Nick Aliotti. They're at Husky Stadium for the State Farm halftime report. So back in Salt Lake City as the nightfall comes in, rain continues, cool, 14-0 Utah. It's not any fun at halftime, Yogi, for Rob Likens, the OC of Arizona State, because Utah's defense made a quick statement.
Yeah, I mean, they look like one of the best defenses in the country at every layer. I mean, this defensive front, it's real. I mean, they're coming off the line of scrimmage. They are humming. They're so physical. They're so strong. And they're so fast. And they're getting into the backfield, and they're saying, we can play coverage on the back end because we feel as though we can get to Jayden Daniels. They did that early in this game, and they're going to have to slow that down if you're Arizona State here in this second half, because it's been Francis Bernard, it's been Leki Fotu, it's been Bradley Anai. And this D-line, they're so athletic, Ted. If they don't get him initially, they get him on the second time around, and the numbers kind of speak to themselves. And overall on third down, Arizona State, they're averaging 3rd and 9+ per third. I mean, that's just hard.
Yards per play? Wow. So the reality is it's pretty difficult for Arizona State to think about anything with their defense unless they find a way to unlock the offense. And I just, Yogi, I know it's easy for us up here. It always has been. You've learned that too. But you know, to me, the first thing you say is, you would think Arizona State has to find a way to get Ayuk the ball. Just get him the ball.
Yeah, they got to get their playmakers. They targeted him 3 times in the first half, all in the first quarter. I'd expect them to try to get him the ball.
Yeah. All right, they're kicking off from the 50-yard line. Remember the penalties at the end of the first half. Cristian Zendejas boots one along the ground, and Utah wisely, very wisely there, lets that go for the touchback. Josh Plaster, Arizona State's kicker, got hurt in pregame warmups. All right, here's second half adjustments.
Yeah, so we just talked about it, right? For Arizona State, get your playmakers involved. And for Utah, they got to keep pressing the issue. That's bringing pressure on Jayden Daniels, playing press coverage on the outside. And offensively, I would press the hole and run the football. I mean, try to see if you can go downhill, see if you can evaporate a bunch of time on the clock and get this offensive line moving Arizona State's front.
There was a flag thrown on the kick. I did not hear an announcement, but it's clearly a foul against Arizona State. Utah starts at the 30. It must have been offside. I'm assuming a 5-yard foul. And Utah comes out and runs right away. And of course, they have a goal that would be, if 1A is to win the game, 1B is to get Zack Moss the record tonight.
Yeah, you got mom in town, your family's here, and thankfully he's healthy. So they're going to want to continue to run the football. And ASU, we talk about their offensive struggles. They got to try to create a turnover, right? They dropped a pick, Jack Jones, in the first half. See if you can get a sudden change.
So Moss got 2 yards on that carry. Now has 30 for the night, so he needs 25. I'd like to just bust one run and get it over with. And Arizona State's done a nice job defensively against Moss on the run game. He gets 4 there, and it will be 3rd and 4.
Remember Evan Fields, and he's no longer participating in the game due to targeting. So we're seeing 23 Tyler Wiley as Zack Moss goes to the sideline.
And as this second half starts, the reality of the night, 44 degrees right now in Salt Lake City with rain. Ooh, that ball just got to the outside, and it's good enough for a first down as Vickers makes the catch.
Ted, this receiving core and tight ends, watch him block. Well, that's big time. Brent Keithy, to get to the outside of Kobe Williams, coming from where he came from, they drill it so often, and that's considered a relative run in this offense. When you're doing things like that against press coverage, you got to feel good about yourself.
And with the brief knockouts in the first half of Tyler Huntley and Zack Moss, they've both returned, but Brian Thompson has not after he was injured in the first half. This is Jordan Wilmore in the game. Freshman running back, bottled up again. I'd say that's been the one shining light of Arizona State's defense tonight.
Yeah, they've played well. I mean, schematically, going last week, we called their game against Washington State totally different offense. To this type of offense, they've physically been able to handle the run game. You know, it's not like they're getting blown off the line of scrimmage.
No, and Yogi, same thing. You know, Danny Gonzalez was talking with us last week, and he said, look, our strength of our defense is the back end. And he's having to play more of the big boys up front in this matchup, and they're hanging in there.
Yeah.
Trying to get some pressure on Huntley. And the swing out. And Wilmore, it is Wilmore, gets out close to midfield.
Watch the head of Tyler Huntley. See his eyes, downfield, nothing there. Okay, I know where my outlet is. Just a really nice job of understanding the concept of your offense, finding the true freshman Jordan Wilmore, who they believe is a potential successor as a big-time back once Zack Moss heads off.
That's what they said as yesterday. I think he could be the next Zack, and there that stiff arm, he pushed Willie Hartz off and tacked 5 yards onto the play. So third down. And they need just about a full 5. Ooh, up in the air and not intercepted. Chase Lucas finally had the touch to try to catch that ball up in the air, the kind of play the ASU defense could sorely use.
This is a big-time scheme, getting pressure. Tyler Huntley forced to throw it early, but in these games, you got to make them. You see the frustration. Shari Crosswell, Chase Lucas, just, oh man, we're so close. A sudden change, a defensive score can swing the momentum back to Arizona State.
All right, so Ben Lennon out for just his second punt. And that's about the only way we've been able to see Ayuk get the ball. Kick returns. Tries to get a punt return going here. Lennon uses the running and then hangs up a kick nicely just outside the hash. So ASU will be pinned back deep in its end for its first second half possession.
And back at Rice-Eccles Stadium, early third quarter, rain continues to fall. The temperature has dropped to 42 degrees. And Herm Edwards trying to figure out how he's going to get his team back in this game. Well, apparently they got an earful about all the mistakes, especially in the second half. And he was really upset, telling me that they just didn't keep their poise. And Herm was embarrassed with the way the team played with all the penalties, just foolish fouls. After that, I said, well, how are you going to help Jayden Daniels kind of get this offense going? And he said simply, we got to move the pocket. So trying to figure some things out as the weather conditions working against him for sure. Ted?
All right, Lewis. I think that was Marvin Lewis he was just saying hi to. It's talk about a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom to go to. Quick off the play action, tried to get a quick out, but didn't work. Pressure by Terrell Burgess as we look at, well, not a lot from the ASU playmakers.
No, and it's been hard, to be fair. I mean, it's not like they're just playing the worst games of their lives. They're playing a defense that's playing out of their minds, and they're making it really hard on Jayden Daniels because they're winning with their front four, and on natural passing downs, they're bringing pressure.
Kyle Williams, intended receiver there. Williams in the slot to the bottom of your picture. Haven't had a ball thrown to Frank Darby yet tonight. Benjamin tries to run the other side, and there's a breakout. And Benjamin takes it out across the 30, by far the biggest play. In fact, that's the first play of the game for 10 yards.
Yeah, it's a really nice job. Tommy Hudson, they bring an offensive lineman. Donovan West pulling from the backside. And I think now you even see him in this 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end personnel. Try to spread this defense out just a little bit. Maybe create a running lane.
Ayuk up top. And there's Benjamin running through people, and Benjamin busts it out. He's going to be very close to another first down. Julian Blackman, the eventual tackle.
Oh, watch this collision right here. Using the momentum of the defender right here. You'll see it. Devin Lloyd, and all of a sudden, boom, all of a sudden bounces off him for another 5 yards.
Well, 2 good runs in a row. 18-10 by Benjamin, and that gets Arizona State out with some breathing room. There's the game he had last year, but right now there is no similarity between last year's game and this year. And there is the self-destructive play that could blunt the momentum of those 2 Benjamin runs. A big first down loss. 8 yards.
Yeah, and this one, it's not perfect, but it's on Jayden. You know, he's such a dynamic athlete. He's made that before. That's the second one. One was a poor snap in the first half.
And Daniel's going to run, and he's going to get some yardage here before he slides down.
And I think it's important to footnote too, Jayden Daniels, remember, he lit up scoreboards in Southern California, but the main point of that sentence is Southern California. It doesn't rain a lot, Ted. He hasn't played a lot of football in this type of environment. See how he handles it here on a 3rd and 10, a natural passing down. Where I would again look to number 2, Brandon Ayuk. He's going to be man-to-man coverage at the top of the screen.
Ayuk has 1 catch for 7 yards. Jaylen Johnson giving him a little bit of a cushion. Daniels looking that way, but he has to get rid of it. And a bad throw. Very poor decision by Daniels. He gets away with it.
Yeah, you know, we've called a bunch of games with Jayden Daniels where he's really poised with his eyes. You see him look to his left, wanting to go there, and then just trying to make something out of nothing on the backside. See if you could find his wide receiver, Ricky Pearsall. But Utah's not allowing Jayden Daniels to get past one, maybe his second read.
Nope, they've been brilliant on defense, and there again 2 good runs by Benjamin, a little bit of momentum, and suddenly the mishandled snap on first down put an end to the drive. Simpkins with a fair catch right at the 15 for a good punt. That's a net 43 by ASU. They're still not must in the muss.
And welcome back, and here is your 76 fueled moment. Early in the game, Jaylen Dixon, little fly sweep, gets a block from his tight end, Brant Keithy. A little bit of love from Solomon Enos, and he does the rest over Chase Lucas. It's a play that Utah has really enjoyed going to. They struggled the first few times tonight, but went right back to the well. 10-yard touchdown run.
And now the Utes back to work from their 15. Huntley steps up, and there's a flag down. Is that a fumble? That is a fumble. Waiting for Mark Duddy. That's going to be holding against Utah on the flag.
And this is exactly what ASU did.
Yeah, exactly. Tyler Johnson forced that, and I believe the ruling on the field is fumble and recovery by Arizona State. Yes, it is. So there is the moment.
The ruling on the field is a fumble. The fumble was recovered by the defense. Holding offense, that penalty is declined. The result of the play, first down.
So the 3rd Utah lost fumble.
Just working. Look at the hand, Tyler Johnson, as you referenced. That's a great job. Because Tyler Huntley's trying to throw it as he's pulling the ball back. See, he's trying to throw it right there as he pulls it. He's trying to steal a sidearm action. Nice job by Johnson. And this is exactly a sudden change. Great field position. The best field position by far for Arizona State. They have to capitalize with 7 on this drive.
Look at that turnover margin. 3 in this game. The first 2, though, were in Arizona State territory. It saved Utah from scoring points. This one they need to cash in. Forced fumble by Tyler Johnson, recovered DJ Davidson. And the review of this is because of the arm action of Huntley. Is there a way to interpret this as a forward pass?
Remember, it's called a fumble initially.
After review, the ball was knocked out of the quarterback's right hand. The ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Arizona State.
I was going to say, it's the old, I mean, we learned this years ago, it's the old empty palm, right?
Yeah.
You see the empty hand coming forward.
And that's the part of the rule. They changed an element of this rule a couple years ago. It's the intentional forward movement of the hand. It used to be the arm, and the ball has to be firmly there, so Ted, you're all over it in terms of the open palm.
So does Arizona State at the Utah 18. Quick to the line. Daniels on the boot. And he'll get out of bounds. He just is not able, this Utah defense is not allowing Daniels to really hurt them at all with his legs. Max Tupai there, and he'll get a yard.
Well, and this is a true, I mean, he saw it a little bit at Michigan State, but the speed of this defense, when you're a high school quarterback, especially the dual threat athlete Jayden Daniels was in high school, it's just different. You think you can outrun guys on the edge, you just can't. You're talking about the Utah defense.
That's it. That's the perfect summary of what Daniels is seeing tonight. He now has carried the ball 8 times, Daniels has, for 4 yards.
Give your guy a shot at the top, Ted.
Williams motions there, 2 receivers left, throw, and a miss there. Well, Ayuk could have gone a ways with that. There was a miss, and now I think the question is going to be Kyle Williams going to get called for a pick here.
Yeah.
They motioned Kyle Williams into the slot, and I think he's going to get called for a pick.
Pass interference, offense, number 10. 15-yard penalty, replay, second down.
Or as Yogi used to call these, a rub.
Oh, well, it's usually a rub. And ASU traditionally is really good at this. We've called a bunch of their games. Motion, run the route. Yeah. It's going to get you because you got to act as though you're running around. And it sounds weird sometimes to the fan, but it's on the offensive player to avoid the defender. And that's just the way of the rule. So the right call by the officials on Kyle Williams, and a frustrating one at that for ASU.
So Kyle Whittingham taking the yardage and knowing Arizona State does not have the long field goal in its repertoire. Back to the 32. It is second down. And Benjamin trying that spin, and he lunges forward. He gets a couple. Not the result, certainly. Arizona State would have hoped there for a little better to give them a better field goal shot potentially. Bradley Anai and then Francis Bernard on the tackle. Ball at the 30, which leaves them 23 yards for a first down, but they have to be thinking here to try to get 10. Yogi?
Yeah, I would. And I keep an eye right there. That's Curtis Hodges against the safety. They're struggling on the outside with Ayuk. This guy is 6'6", Ted. Give him a shot.
That's the guy they've talked to us about. They like him as a receiver, but they like Benjamin as a runner, and Benjamin does a good job, and that's just about what you would have wanted. He'll get 8, and that should push the field goal into a much more makeable range.
And he gets a nice block from Hodges, 86 right there in the screen. And you know, Eno's running so hard tonight. You can feel him every time he's falling forward. He's trying to find every extra inch.
So for Zendejas, you see his long at 43. This will be 40, and that's why those yards were important. Herm Edwards last week told us he thought the range was in the low 40s. That was his comfort zone. Macias is the holder. And the Zendejas kick is good, and Arizona State on the board with the 3 points off turnover.
It was huge. Finally get some momentum, the sudden change. Not a touchdown, but they get 3 on the board. 14-3.
Mark Willard in San Francisco with your Gatorade Studio update. A grinded-out game in Athens. Low-scoring late third quarter. Georgia's only got 28 yards passing in the game, so do it on the ground. Here's Brian Harrion. Beat him to the pylon from 8 yards out, and Georgia leads Kentucky 14-0 now early in the fourth. Ted, Yogi, back to you.
All right, so now Arizona State has to go to a new kicker. This is Brian Macias, who serves as a holder, having to kick off. Again, Josh Plaster was hurt in warm-ups. We don't know exactly what it was, but he went down in warm-ups and is not able to kick, obviously, during the game tonight. Let's go down field side. Lewis?
All right, Ted, time for Jack in the Box student section spotlight. And, of course, we focus on the must. Look at all those kids out there in the rain. So we talked about this at the beginning of the game, this relentless wall of coordinated sound. These guys are just unbelievable. This note is important. Rice-Eccles has a game day capacity of just around under 46,000. That's about 10th in the conference, but they rank in the top 3 in terms of noise, and it's all the student section, the must doing that. Some of their traditions, of course, they're quiet when the Utes have the ball, but they want to be as loud as possible when the opposing team has the ball, try to confuse Arizona State. They've done that. And then when the Sun Devils are on third down, they try and jump up and down to make more noise. So they've been very effective, as usual, as the must.
And so as Moss there, as he rambles out for 9 yards. But I'll say that just the must is fabulous. Whether it's football or basketball, I've never been here for a gymnastics meet, but we know how big Gymno is on this campus, and these students are fabulous. It is makes it a real pleasure to come here.
Yeah, they take so much pride in their sports here in Salt Lake City, and specifically this university.
And Moss trying to get outside, and he's going to be on that run, going to get him a little bit under 10 yards away now from the Utah record.
And he's earned every yard tonight. This Arizona State defense, Ted, we talked about it before. They're making it difficult. And the O-line, we talked to Nick Ford, the starting guard for Utah. He said, as much as it's Zach's award, we feel as though it's a little bit of ours as well.
Yeah. Sounds like mom needs to cook dinner for the O-line, right? Oh, Huntley throws the pick. Lucas has it. And Lucas running. Lucas gets a block, and he just could not turn that last turn up the sideline, but still he is inside the Utah 30. We have an injured Utah player, but the Sun Devils actually have life here. Their 4th takeaway.
Yeah, and this is just a bad read. Watch Chase Lucas the entire time in the corner. Tyler Huntley, it's play action. He wants to throw to this area, but he doesn't see Lucas. He doesn't see him. He thinks he's going to run with that go route. He doesn't. Chase Lucas catches it with his body in the rain, in the elements. Another sudden change back-to-back drives.
And look at Huntley's reaction. You'll see it again at the end of the play.
Oh, I wonder if it was a miscommunication.
Well, that is the first interception that Huntley has thrown.
Oh, he's so frustrated.
The last quarterback in FBS.
Yeah.
To have not thrown a pick, that's his first.
And he didn't look 100% either, chasing it down.
I was noticing the same thing. And Darren Paulo, the left tackle for Utah, was the player down in those change of possession plays. You oftentimes have these scrambles, and suddenly a guy who's a blocker, they say, wait a minute, now you're a tackler. Yeah. And oftentimes these kinds of things happen.
He's a mainstay, a captain. This was his 33rd start of his career.
Well, Yogi, here's another. It's amazing what I've learned listening to you. Field goals don't beat touchdowns. No. It's another thing I've learned.
Not on the road.
So ASU has its 4th takeaway, but 2 in a row now in Utah territory. And you'd have to believe this is, I don't do that win probability thing, but if they don't put this in the end zone, it's not going to be good for the win probability.
No, I mean, they have to, they got to create something throwing the ball. I mean, when Jayden Daniels taking 3-step drops and he's getting hit in the backfield, I mean, that's not good. So what do? You have to max protect. That means keep a tight end in, bring an extra tight end in, and or your running back, and you have to win outside. Brandon Ayuk, Frank Darby, etc.
So here's another football truism that's being defied tonight. It usually says turnovers are the biggest factor in a game. Arizona State's +4 tonight. Look at the score.
Yeah. Got to generate something on offense. At the top again, Brandon Ayuk, Jaylen Johnson. He hasn't done anything tonight. It's man-to-man coverage.
Starting from the 28, and that was an early pull-up by Roy Hemsley, the right tackle.
False start. Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Utah's hurt themselves with turnovers. Arizona State with penalties.
So uncharacteristic. I mean, Lewis Johnson gave the report after halftime what Herm Edwards said, and It's so unlike them. On the road, too emotional at times. You get antsy against this front. They are one of the fastest coming off the edge in the country.
And here's the 5 wideout look for ASU. 5 wide receivers. Brooks coming. Deep throw to Darby. Overshot. So Morgan Scalley is clearly, Yogi, when he sees the 5 wideout, he's just bringing extra pressure, telling ASU you're going to have to throw it fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's man-to-man coverage, everything you want, but Jayden is going to get hit again. A free rusher. Yeah. A free rusher in Devin Lloyd. So you're right, you're trying to protect. You can't go max protect because you have 5 wide receivers. Right. So right now, the defense of Utah is just executing at a higher rate and banking and betting on themselves, saying, okay, we can get home to the quarterback and allow him to make a difficult throw, and he hasn't converted on the difficult throws.
Here's the kind of play I wonder, do you just, if you're Daniels here, do you just take the snap and just throw the ball right to Ayuk up top and let him see one-on-one can he run against Jaylen Johnson? Or is that too simplistic?
Well, you got to get him the ball somehow. You know, they've moved him in the slot at times. He's so special with the ball in his hands after the catch. He's averaging over 10 yards after every time he touches the ball.
13.6. I saw that number today, which is amazing. That's his average yards after catch. That's why I know it's easy again to make these calls from up here.
Yeah. Well, here's a guy right now. This is Nolan Matthews. He was one of the best tight ends in the country coming out of high school. See if you can maybe give him a shot. He's big at about 6'4.5".
And look at the cushion up top. Johnson's giving Ayuk 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. Doesn't matter. If you can't block, it doesn't matter. Bradley and I, 2nd sack tonight.
And it's just frustrating. Watch him. Senior against freshman. Barely touched. He's so explosive. He's so athletic. And he's so determined. We talked to him this week, and he said it was such a salty taste in our mouth after what Arizona State did a year ago. And it's as though that is a reminder to him and every member of this defense. Because every snap tonight, Ted, they found their way in the backfield for the most part.
And that's crushing. And that Herm Edwards has no option. He can't go. It's 4th and 20. He really can't go for it. Not even nowhere close to field goal range. So it'll be a punt. Except the whistles blow the play dead. And watching that replay, Yogi, goes back to what we talked about for playlist yesterday.
False start, offense, not all of the players were set. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
The common football situation when you feel like you have a tough matchup, as they do there with a 17-year-old kid against an eye, is do you double, do you chip block? All the things we talked about on playlist yesterday. There it was a one-on-one, and I just whipped him.
Yeah, and to me, what's so tough, and if you're Rob Likens, the OC in the booth, you're saying, they're giving us man coverage, and we can't get a 3-step quick game pass game off. We can't throw the ball without getting hit.
And this punt will, there you go. Turk hit the backspin nicely, and he'll be downed around the 5.
Well, nice punt, but nicer stop on the defense. Bradley and I, he's an All-American candidate, 1st-round potential draft pick for a reason. Not even touched. Outside, no, I'm going inside. And he gets to the quarterback, Jayden Daniels, and it's all Utah defense.
Well, you see the night, it started out like it might be a decent football night. It's it's not easy. Cold and wet. No snow yet, which is good. Zack Moss needs 10 yards to become the all-time leading Utah rusher. And with his folks here, we've seen his mom in the stands. He had to be evaluated in the first half after being hit on a targeting foul. Only going to get a yard here as Utah backed up following the good punt by Michael Turk.
As Moss inches closer and closer to this record, Arizona State's defense, Ted, I mean, they've kept him in this game. I mean, another world here. If they can hold him to 3 and out and get the ball back with good field position.
Arizona State's defense has done that. The 4 takeaways. The staggering number is you have 4 takeaways and 3 points. That's a rarity. And Moss can't get outside. And this, to me, this has been, I mean, the takeaways have been great, but this has been the best part of the Arizona State defense tonight. After facing the air raid last week, to turn around in a week, Yogan, and say, I'm going to basically smother a premier back in Moss. ASU's done this nicely.
Yeah. And you got to give Danny Gonzalez all that credit, their defensive coordinator. And even in the second half, Evan Fields, he's kind of the anchor to that defense. He plays one of the safety positions, and this is, again, a unique offense. It's a 3-3-5 defense, a lot of moving parts. Evan Fields was the communicator in all those parts. He's no longer playing due to targeting.
So a long third down for Huntley in Utah. And wrapped up, got away. Now takes the big shot. And just broken up, but there is a flag. Crosswell, the defender for Arizona State.
Wow, I mean, how about Tyler Huntley? Clearly not 100%. Moving in the pocket,
Pass
almost
interference, defense number 16. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Crosswell looking up at the big scoreboard. Let's take our look at it.
And what Tyler Huntley, almost a sack. Tyler Johnson, he climbs the pocket, just launches it. Kind of a prayer. And that's tough if you're a Shari Crosswell, because Damari Simpkin didn't jump back into him. So they're just running, they're running. If he jumped back into him, I get it, but that to me is, that's really tough. He's not doing anything. He's just running with them.
I would agree. That's not a good call. Left shoulder, oh, ball tipped, and it is a forward pass that is incomplete. And obviously the official, you saw the official was running behind. He didn't have a good view. He sees the left hand over the shoulder. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Obviously that's all we can do is guess. That's what the call is. It's deflected there, but that was a forward throw, so incomplete. Kyle Sewell on the deflection for ASU. This is why someday I will live long enough to see Sunday football do this, though. That foul in the college is the right play, 15 yards.
Yeah, that's right.
The spot foul is absurd. Well, this is where this crew went a little bit off rail near the end of the first half, and they have to be stronger to keep this from deteriorating. It did at the end of the first half.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it may take a lot of flags to do it, but this is necessary.
There's no foul for the contact at the end of the play. The contact was legal. It'll be third down.
So third down, Moss has lost a yard on this possession so far, so he's 11 yards now. Or excuse me, they've regained a yard, so he's 10 away.
The official tracker of yards.
Yeah,
they got a big job.
But he has 19 carries for 45 yards. Here comes pressure. Danny Gonzalez dialed it up. Huntley breaks away and then gets the ball away and an incompletion. And that's another terrific effort by the quarterback as Arizona State brought everybody.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do on passing downs. You know he's not healthy. He gets away from one sack, throws it away to not get another one, but you just hope that he's okay. I mean, there's a world where if you're Utah, and clearly that's happening right now, where it's, hey, run the football, play great defense, keep your quarterback healthy, don't try to put him in harm's way. Again, you see him kind of gimping off to the sideline.
Utah is home here next week. They have Cal for a late night special. Lennon gets the punt away. Upman fields this, and he's got a little room. That was Jack Jones, and it looked like he had an alley down the near side, but it got closed off.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this Utah defense. They've been all over it. Jayden Daniels early on could have given it to Eno Benjamin for a gain, kept it, tackled. This defensive line, Bradley and it's just been so aggressive. Whenever it looks like a lane, boom, that closes. Big Leki Fotu on the tackle, the senior defensive tackle, and the linebackers. I mean, everybody's gotten in on this, and when they've tried to take shots downfield, nobody's been open. I mean, Ted, you can argue this defense. You watched them on tape the last couple weeks, starting here at Washington State after the SC game, then last week against Oregon State, and today. They're playing the best they've ever played, and when you look at the last 3 or 4 years, this defense.
Benjamin barrels across midfield. Well, you watch this game and then you say, how in the heck did USC score 30 on them with their third quarterback? And we know, you've talked about it.
Let's just make a play.
Receiver battles.
It was
receivers won.
It was Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And then you look at today's game, and as well as Oregon has been playing all year on defense, Washington put 31 on them today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a heck of an offensive effort. Well, as we're winding down here in the last minute of the third quarter, it just put another big headline on this game. A game breaker has not been involved. Brandon Ayuk is not a part of this game at all.
3 targets all in the first quarter. I went to him earlier in this quarter, but there's a penalty on us that negated it. But you're right. And I think for Jayden Daniels and the evolution of quarterback play, Ted, is you learn to just give guys shots. And sometimes I think he's trying to wait a little extra. Is he open? And to me, you got to give number 2 a couple shots here late in the third and as we get into the fourth.
And we have 2 completed passes tonight. I mean, that's Jayden Daniels is 2 of 12 passing for 15 yards. This pass target was the first one to Frank Darby tonight.
Yeah, and again, first read wasn't there, ran to a second. Darby trying to drag his feet, but this secondary, Tariq Lewis and company, they're doing such a nice job of staying on top. Let's see his toes. I think it's a catch, Ted.
Ooh. Well, see if that's going to be the third. Mark Duddy gets on the headset here. We'll see if that'll be the third completion of the night. ASU next Saturday will be at the Rose Bowl. We'll follow them there for that game. Arizona State, UCLA on Pac-12 Networks.
I mean, I'm with it. Right there, right?
Yeah, it looks like a good toe drag on green, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so remember, the bigger picture in this is that the winner of this game will be tied with the winner of the Arizona-USC game that follows us. They'll be tied for the division lead. Now, USC's already beaten Utah, so that gives them, were they to win tonight, that gives them a leg up even on Utah.
Yeah, can you imagine the world where both of those teams went out? Utah, a one-loss team, but only to USC not get to the Pac-12.
And the other schedule to think about this year, well, we'll tell you after this.
After review, the receiver had his left foot down inbounds. It's a catch. It'll be Arizona State's ball, 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line.
How sweet for Frank Darby. The man who put sweet tea on the map last Wednesday.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was, well, I don't know. There were a lot of adjectives I could use to describe that.
A lot of sugar in that tea for Frank Darby.
That had to be sweet. I hope he's okay. That was a heck of a play, though. 12 yards. First down at the Utah 36. And he's just, again, Daniels, so much pressure. He's not able to get back there and take any shot to look. And that's going to be the final play of the third quarter.
Yeah, and this one was tough because Bradley Anae, man, he's so special. There's a world where Frank Darby's wide open on that play for Jayden Daniels, Ted, and it's been all defense on a lot of Bradley Anae. Check out that previous snap. Just winning with speed off the edge. Jayden Daniels saying, whoa, I got to get my eyes off my receiver. Defense for Utah. Whoa.
Pac-12 football is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. To learn more, visit LandRoverUSA.com. And brought to you by Sanofi Pasteur. Visit SeniorFluShot.com to learn more. And by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Well, we've seen our share of 30s games recently, haven't we? But not tonight. Utah's played this game more in their style, and their defense is just smothered. Arizona State under 100 yards of offense through 3 quarters. And despite 4 Arizona State takeaways, they have 3 points.
And 3 completions, which to me is just, they had, Utah's defensive front had been in the backfield pretty much every snap in Jayden Daniels' face or hitting him.
Well, Yogi, I would ask the question again. The matchup we talked about on playlist, the freshman tackle, left tackle for Arizona State, you just can't let him block one-on-one against the night. He's just, it's a mismatch. If Hudson, the tight end, well, no, Hudson goes out on a pattern. They do double up on a nine. Daniels goes out the other side, but as has been the case often, tonight, nowhere to throw.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough if you're an OC, right? Because you're saying, all right, we need to max protect. Again, the 5 offensive linemen, a tight end, maybe your back, just
all of them to block a 9.
Yeah, totally fair. And then when they do that, what Morgan Scalley's done is he recognized max protection, and then all of a sudden it's Devin Lloyd, it's Francis Bernard, it's an extra guy, and they can't defend that or can't block that up, and all of a sudden, again, in the backfield.
So 3rd down. And Daniels trying to keep it. Can he get to the edge? Yes, he can. Does he get to the line? Yes, he does. 1st down, ASU.
Well, the one thing Jayden Daniels has done is 4th quarters use his legs in huge games all season long, right? The zone read, all right, I'm going to keep the edge. It's the one time he's beaten the Utah defense to the edge to move the chains.
Yep, the first time, and it's what he's done in other games this year. He had just enough to get a 1st down. And if Arizona State, and here's the if they can somehow finish this in the end zone, they're right in the game. Benjamin, can he get out? He spins away. That is one of the great runs of all time to lose 2 yards. That was an incredible effort by Benjamin.
Yeah, look, if you're a high school running back watching this, he never stops moving his feet. I mean, he's so low to the ground. He's always looking for some grass to just gain some traction. You think he's dead right there, and it's over. No, just keep moving my feet, keep spinning, keep moving. Maybe something will break. And he hasn't broken one yet tonight. He's had 2 decent runs, but he'll have a chance here to break one out. He's due. He's due for a long run tonight.
Daniels surveying, 2nd down and 12. Can he get out? He does get out up the middle. But then, following the advice of his very wise head coach, know when your journey is over. Daniels goes down.
You know what's crazy, Ted, is that he's taken his 3-step drop, and he's never able to just settle in and serve.
He can't plan, right?
Exactly right, and that's where he's at his best, where he can put his back foot and read it out and get the ball out. That hasn't happened one time tonight.
The previous play is under review for a possible targeting foul.
There it is.
Okay, so that's a buzz from above.
That's a Jayden Daniels slide, and see what type of contact there was, if there was an indicator. The minute you slide, you become defenseless. Climb the pocket, once again, no time. Slides right now, he's defenseless.
Oh, okay. I see that at the very end.
But I see him turn. To me, if you're Devin Lloyd, we saw that one last week, Penn State game. If you go back and watch that one a week ago, same thing happened. They took the targeting off. Here it is in real speed. No way, man. At least that's where I'm going on this one. I think Devin Lloyd did everything he could to pull up.
He didn't lead with the crown of his helmet, right?
Yeah, exactly. Turned is. And again, just to remind everybody, the indicators, right?
After
is there a launch?
The ruling on the field is confirmed. There is no foul for targeting.
Okay. Good, quick decision there after seeing it. And so we will have a 3rd and 8 coming up for Arizona State. And so, Yogi, I'm going to ask you, is this 4-down territory?
I don't know. Your defense is playing lights out. Tyler Huntley's injured. You can get 6, and all of a sudden now you can go for 2 if you got to score. So I don't think so, Ted. But I'll tell you what I would do. I would give the ball to number 2. He's in the bottom of the screen. He's your best playmaker. Yes, he's against the best corner, but your guy's got to show up in big games.
Well, they tried to run the inside screen, but again, with Ayuk, but so many people, Daniels can't get the ball there. They were trying to get the ball to Ayuk.
How about Bradley and I jumping off? Wow.
But that's just a straight speed rush.
Yeah.
And Henderson's helpless against it.
Henderson can't beat it, and it feels like Jayden Daniels just trying to get the ball out. You know, and you got to do that on screens, but Bradley Anae, man, he has been a game wrecker tonight.
All right, Coach Roth is right on this. 42 yards for Zendejas. No, and that's the crusher, is that if you do kick, you've got to make it.
Yeah.
So it stays 14-3. Soggy, but not spent from us. Now they give it on the fly sweep. That play will get in for the touchdown is Jaylen Dixon. And there's the yard and the touchdown for Zack Moss. Mama says, yeah, that's awesome.
They're fired up, and they should be.
Now, Zack Moss doesn't have the career rushing record yet. Utah has the lead and a commanding defensive night. A lot of Pac-12 football to talk about. Find our podcast this week. Go to iTunes or all the other Yogi, you know where everything is, where we find our Excellent Adventure podcast. And last week, the cry was answered. People were screaming. They wanted more Michael Molinari. They got it.
And listen to the fans.
And if you heard the HBO show with Arizona State during the week, they were in our meeting with Herm Edwards and showed a clip of that as Jason Shelley is now in his quarterback. So Huntley, Yogi picked it up. You could see it. He was not running well when he was chasing Chase Lucas after an interception. And Shelley gets in.
And this is interesting now, right? I mean, we saw Drew Liss come in earlier, which to me said that he was the number 2. Now here comes Jason Shelley, who has had a few packages over the last few weeks running the football for this team.
Brumfield is the running back, so no Moss either. There's the fly sweep play. That is a big part of the Utah offense, but Dixon got clipped down a few yards, but it'll be a long third for Utah. Tyler Wiley on the good defensive play for ASU.
And I can remember it like yesterday. We were there last year for this game when Jason Shelley came in. He went 4 for 11, and he saw heavy pressure when he came in against Arizona State. I'm Danny Gonzalez. I come right back to that. Stop the run. Make Jason Shelley beat you with his arm.
Stunned up front, gets through, but Shelley escapes. Look at Shelley. Can he reverse the field? He ran out of steam. He tried to reverse the field a second time. And that works on the video screen, not so much on the football field, right?
Yeah, that was good at Lone Star High School in Frisco, Texas, but just trying to make something out of nothing. Dynamic athlete. How about DJ Davidson? This athleticism right here at the end. Just staying balanced. Turf got him a little bit, but overall, again, a nice job by Arizona State's defense. Now, they need a return here if I'm them. Need something to give yourself a chance here.
Well, let's see if Ayuk gets his hand on the balls here as Lennon's punt comes away. And Ayuk has to fair catch it, but a good drive start for ASU. Still 10 minutes and a few seconds here if ASU finds an answer to its offense.
And welcome back, and this is your CDW well-orchestrated play for people who get it, and Bradley and he gets it. He gets home to the quarterback. Coming off the edge, Ted, he looked like a track star right there, man. That was impressive, and he's been doing it all night long. And you can really talk about his entire career, but he was so focused on this game. We talked to him this week. He said, I know I'm seeing a true freshman left tackle and a freshman quarterback. They're going to feel me, and they have all game long.
Now here's ASU back, still life if they can find something, but nothing has worked. They're getting the ball to Kyle Williams, but he's dropped for a loss by Terrell Burgess. I mean, Arizona State has run 43 plays tonight, and they have 101 yards of offense. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it hasn't been to me like a lack of execution or a bunch of busts. To me, they've just gotten beat. You know, they got beat up front the majority of this game, and the receivers haven't won outside.
And again, Daniels didn't have a place to go first. Then Vianney Moala was in and pushed Daniels out.
Check this one out, okay? You're going to watch Curtis Hodges. He's right here, okay? He's going to run, and he's wide open, Ted. It's great play design. But here comes Jayden Daniels, and there's pressure. He wants to throw it now. We can't do it because he's right there. I mean, that has been the story all game long.
Well, this is definitely a different sort of baptism for Jayden Daniels. I don't think even Michigan State put this on him.
No, not even close. And this is a big time. This is a CFP caliber defense.
Now he's going to run it, and he won't get to the line, so this will leave Herm Edwards with a choice. You're near midfield. And you're going to have a makeable fourth down distance here, about 5. Right at the 47 of Arizona State, so it is 4th and 5, and the punt team is coming out.
You know, to me, the decision to punt here, it's saying that we can't do anything offensively. Maybe we can hold them back, pin them with our defense against Jason Shelley.
Well, it almost gets to the point where you're saying, all right, my offense isn't going to score. My defense has to score.
Yeah. And it's fair. Against a quarterback who hasn't played a ton this year, struggled against you last year.
All right, fair catch by Simpkins there inside the 10. So our game in Utah is the Zero Waste game. It's part of the Pac-12 Zero Waste Challenge. Every Pac-12 university selects a single football game, and they compete to see who can divert the most waste from landfills and be the most green. It's all part of Pac-12 Team Green, and a great effort that promotes sustainability.
That's pretty cool because it's a competition. So the winner gets an on-field experience next season.
The winner should get about 30 minutes with my friend Bill Walton to talk about sustainability, because it's a passion of Bill's that he's been a big part of Pac-12 Team Green.
I like that. We got to stream that on pac-12.com.
All right, so Utah staying with Jason Shelley. Remember, Tyler Huntley, leg injury of some sort in the first half, was out for some plays on the same series, but he returned later on that same series. He has played up until the last Utah possession, and now it is Jason Shelley as the third Utes quarterback of the night.
Yeah, and I agree with the move. Obviously, we don't know the severity or the simplicity of the injury, but bottom line, he didn't look like himself, and this ASU defensive front, they've been getting in the backfield.
Shelley with a keep, got past one tackle, and then a saving hit there. He was one shift away, and now we get a late flag here. He was one slip away from getting a first down, or Wiley made the tackle, and then there was an extracurricular. The crowd reacted as if it was against ASU.
Yeah, it was Willie Hart, the true freshman, getting tangled up.
After the play, personal foul, face mask, defense, number 3. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. Automatic first down.
I'd say the only blemish tonight on the Arizona State defense has been this.
Yeah.
And as Lewis told us, Herm Edwards let him hear it at halftime, and it had been clean in the second half until there.
Yeah, and it's a freshman, right? I mean, this is a new experience. Herm Edwards told us this week he met with all of the true freshmen, and there's a lot of them that play for Arizona State, and he said, you're about to hit a wall, because right about now you played as many snaps as you did last year in high school, and it's a way different world than high school.
The wall.
Yeah, and you're going up to Salt Lake City to Rice-Eccles Stadium, and he said we got to lean on each other, and there's been times they've looked good and times where they've struggled and had unforced errors.
Shelley spun around and eventually is dropped. That was Shannon Foreman who was in there, and TJ Pesafea. 12 penalties tonight for ASU, averaging 5 a game coming in. 12 tonight, 122 penalty yards.
And look, they bent, but they didn't break. You know, they haven't. You know, they're going to be sick when they go back and watch this game, because they've had opportunities to score, to move the ball, and just they dominated on the defensive side from Utah.
Going to run it and barrel up for a couple of yards is Moss. So he's still... He has earned every single yard tonight. Moss will get 3 on that carry, 7 away.
The countdown is on, and Again, to go back to defensive football for Arizona State, Danny Gonzalez, they talked about that record. And if you're a defense, and not against us, and they played their hearts out tonight in terms of just selling out to stop the run, haven't given up big explosive plays. It's been a nice job for a team that's undersized when you compare them to the Utah offensive line.
Quick pop and running there. Not going to get to the first down line. 36-yard line is the end of the play.
So right now, if I'm Arizona State, Ted, I'm bringing the house. You got to bring everybody. You got to create something.
Cole Fotheringham on that catch. And of course, the other decision by Herm Edwards' decisions, you can see where Utah's done a brilliant job here of running clock. So Utah, or Arizona State rather, will have less than 6 minutes now.
Keep an eye on this guy right here. That's Curtis Hodges. He is a big man, 6'6", long arms. And here he comes.
Also remember Lennon, he's running right where Lennon would like to run to punt. Whoa, they got close. Nope, no contact. Crowd. And there's a fumbled punt, and Utah has the ball. So the crowd and everybody was worried about Lennon, who did a dive at the end of his punt, trying to draw a flag. In the meantime, the return is fumbled by Arizona State and recovered by Utah. Jack Jones on the fumble.
Foul for running into the kicker. The kicker was out of the tackle box. The result of the play is a fumble recovered by Utah. First down.
And Bronson Boyd on the recovery, and I'm very glad Mark Duddy gave us that explanation, because that's been a point I've been asking this question a lot. In this era now, with all these punters running around, the Australian punters, and you heard his explanation, outside the tackle box, you lose the punter protection.
Yeah, and Jordan Porter had a chance at it. You block a punt, you want to have your hands below your eyes. His hands were above his eyes, and then Jack Jones, he kind of baited him into, am I going to fair catch it or not? Caught it, but didn't have good protection. Nice tackle, but an unfortunate turnover for the Sun Devils.
And the first turnover of the night by Arizona State. And there it is, a record-setting run. Zack Moss runs his way into Utah football history. yards. That's the big run that he'd been looking for all night, and it comes on his 21st carry. And it will allow Utah to celebrate for a moment. The all-time leading runner in Utah football history. From Florida, Zack Moss makes his mark in the Wasatch.
Ambassador of this prestigious honor, and you're going to hold the title well. Once again, great job, and go Utes.
History-setting touchdown run, Zack Moss, all-time leading rusher in Utah history. The man he passed, Eddie Johnson, who did that in the 80s when Utah was in the WAC. Classy video. Eddie lives along the Central California coast now in Santa Maria. And what you were telling me, he's going to be here next week, huh?
Yeah, he's going to come to the Cal game, and I think it's awesome when you can bridge two different elements of history together. And I can remember talking to Zack. He said when he signed, he Googled what the record was.
Let's go to our studio, Mark Willard.
And guys, just a reminder to our viewers to stay with us for Game 3 of our triple header coming up. Arizona at USC in LA tonight. There's Khalil Tate. Remember, he had over 400 yards passing against Colorado just a couple of weeks ago. And SC still controls their destiny in the South. About a 6:40 kick in LA coming up in just a bit. Ted, Yogi?
All right, Mark. Yeah, if USC wins tonight, they will continue to control their destiny. That's the if. And the question is, which Khalil Tate plays? The one we saw 2 weeks ago or last week? more uneven game as Daniels fires that away. But one thing we should say in this aftermath of Zack Moss setting this record, and it's really something that a guy who was a part of Pac-10 and Pac-12 football for a long time, somewhere in Idaho sitting in his mansion is smiling, and that's Dennis Erickson.
Yeah.
And Dennis Erickson, after his run at ASU, served some time here as an assistant. But Dennis Erickson's roots into South Florida established a little bit of a pipeline. Nice breakaway by Benjamin, gets his biggest run of the night. That's going to get Benjamin past 100 yards, and it gets him into Utah territory.
Yeah, it's a great point, Ted. You think of the Hallandale trio, Tyler Huntley, Amari Simpkins, Zack Moss. All three guys will have graduated by the time they're done here. And think of how they played, how they've elevated the program. They said they came and committed when it was snowy, and they said, you know what? Let's see if we can create a legacy in Salt Lake.
Yeah, but it was that cred that Dennis Erickson had from his time in Miami. And it started with a running back named Joe Williams, who sadly his pro career never worked out. And Joe Williams was the stud back when Zack Moss first came here. And Moss has said, I benefited because Joe Williams had a period where he left. But when he came back and played again, Zack Moss could sit and watch.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting talking to those three about their recruiting. I said, well, when Dennis Erickson did anything in South Florida, you listen. I mean, he's the godfather down there, let alone many other places due to his college football coaching career.
And fired away by Daniels. The run, by the way, by Eno Benjamin that flipped the field here was 32 yards, and Benjamin now has 104 on the night. Benjamin, with Zack Moss being number one, you might say, where's Benjamin? Benjamin tonight has moved into 13th on the all-time ASU rushing list. He will, most certainly, if he stays healthy, he will reach the top 10 by the end of this year. And then he'll have a decision to make.
He's earned every yard tonight, too.
And just the pass game is just non-existent for Arizona State tonight.
I mean, so many tips at the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's a skill set, okay? So you're rushing, and in your head you're going 1, 2, 3, hands up right there. That's exactly how you do it. John Penasini, Bradley and I, early on in the game, we saw Mika Tafua, I think, at the first drive of the game, Ted. So everybody's getting involved in terms of their hands up, making plays.
Fourth down, Ayuk in tight on the left hash. But again, look at that. It's just story of the night. The best player in the field tonight's the number 6 for Utah.
This defense a year ago, they said they were embarrassed. They said the taste of their mouth they had to get rid of. And they said, we're facing a couple true freshmen, and Bradley and I, being the leader of this defensive front, yeah, he's excited, he's made plays, and he's been a game wrecker all day long.
You know, I've got to say this because I feel for a young man. Ladarian Henderson, the left tackle, 17 years old, and he has been left on an island a couple times tonight. It's been tough. It's a really rough ask, Ladarius Henderson, excuse me. And you feel for him because I know you had some conversations with John Kitna last week when we were in Tempe about the quality person Ladarius Henderson is. We'll get to that in a second. Lewis Johnson has a most special guest. Lewis?
Absolutely. So the Utah rushing record, the last name changes now from Johnson to Moss. And I've got his mom here, Cassandra, who's been telling me all about this moment. You waited a long time through this game, but what was it like to see him actually get that record on a touchdown run?
Amazing, amazing. I ran down it before I knew it because he was gone, so I just knew he was going to run it in. He's been looking forward to doing it, so it's been a blessing.
Right.
It was awesome, though. It was really awesome.
It was. Tell everybody how you guys have been trying to guess which game this would happen and whether you come and don't come, but tonight seemed to be the night.
Right. Yeah, actually, when he was away, to a game, away game, I actually thought because he had 100-some yards. What was that?
As he continues to go right there. but you kind of felt like tonight might be the night.
I know. After, he didn't play anymore in the other game away, I said 55 yards, he can get 100 yards a game.
Right.
So I felt like, I'm going to be there. So I knew he could do it. It wasn't looking like it for a while.
Right. And if you think back to his career, Mom, and all the ups and downs and the injuries and not being able to play and coming back, what does a moment like this mean, do you think, to him and then to you all as a family to see him have the success at Utah?
Yeah, it's truly a blessing. I thank God, for the whole thing, because some of those injuries, a lot of players haven't come back, and they can't play the same. And so he's just been a blessing. And I thank God how he's blessed him and that he's been able to do what he set out to do.
Well, he continues to do more. We congratulate you. Good job on getting the game right. Enjoy the rest of the game and get warm. And enjoy going back to Miami. I'm sure you guys will have a lot to talk about.
Appreciate you talking to me. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Dead happy mom down there, huh?
I'm not sure who likes this weather less, Lewis or Cassandra.
You know what I love what she said? She said, man, it was awesome. And a reminder, prior to every game, she texts him, Zach, be awesome. And if you're going to use one word to describe, maybe it's that, because this guy's special. And I go back to the day he said, I'm coming to Utah. He said he Googled what the rushing record was and knew exactly what he had to get to. And it was a big reason why he came back. He said, I want to leave a legacy. Could have went to the NFL, Ted. And what a great story about a young student athlete.
I thought we were going to get Cassandra to analyze a replay of Zach's run. That would have been good. Zack Moss, a really nice tackle for loss on this last play by Chase Lucas. 91 yards tonight for Moss, but enough to become the all-time rush leader. And again, he hasn't played a whole lot really since the BYU game in week 1.
Yeah.
And the fact he could carry 24 times tonight and catch 3 out of the backfield, good sign for Utah.
Yeah, and the way this team is playing, Ted, it's a good sign for them when you just look at what they have coming down the pipe in terms of games. Yeah. Cal, UW. I mean, there's a world where they're a one-loss team playing a one-loss Oregon for a legitimate college football playoff berth.
And this is the schedule we were referencing earlier, they don't play this year.
That's right.
There's no regular season game between the Utes and the Ducks. This defense, remember they played in the Pac-12 championship game last year and it was 10-3, right?
Yeah. Jason Shelley.
And if that game had been the championship game of another one of the major conferences, what would have been the reaction? What great defense they played there.
Multiple conferences. I'd say the Big Ten or the SEC.
And you say the same thing tonight. I mean, this defense has not. I mean, they just have not let Arizona State in this game, and especially a tremendous player in Brandon Ayuk has not been a part of this game at all.
Yeah, and you just look at him. The SC game, Michael Pittman goes off. Mentioned the third-string quarterback had a career night, but since then, Anthony Gordon in the rain, they struggled. You look at his numbers. Isaiah Hodgins, he was shut down. Brandon Ayuk, we barely said his name in terms of making plays all game long. This team, I just feel this, Ted. I'd be curious if you'd agree. It feels as though they're playing with a sense of urgency that's just unique. They know their margin for error is so slim, and they're coming out trying to dominate teams.
Well, they've won every game this year as we get another big run there for a first down, and that's going to end the ball game. That's a first down run, and that will give Utah the chance to just snap the ball out. That may get Moss over 100 yards. But remember, last year, the goal for Utah, they had never won the division. They had not played in the Pac-12 championship game. They got over that. And now they have a chance, I feel, to think bigger.
The build from Kyle Whittingham. Remember that night when he was the co-head coach in the Fiesta Bowl back in 2004 to now, how they've built it, how they've recruited, and of course how they've identified and developed players like Bradley Anai, Devin Lloyd, guys that came in a little slight and now they're playing big-time football.
99 yards for Moss tonight, and this should be the final play. And Brumfield runs it down to the 20-yard line. Well, we were there for his first Pac-12 game at the Coliseum against USC, and he has admitted multiple times, Whittingham, that he learned he had to step things up, level of player, to come to the Pac. They're there. I mean, they've been there. I shouldn't say it's not tonight. They've been there.
This team is real, and they should put everybody on notice around the country because it's as dominant of a defense, I think, in the entire country. They remind you of Clemson from a year ago. Offensively, Tyler Huntley, let's hope he's healthy. Zack Moss, when he's healthy, he's special. And man, this team is, I think they're big time, Ted.
All right, well, we found out yesterday Coach Whittingham likes to swim, so he got wet again tonight. Lewis?
All right. I think we all did. Coach, what do you make of a game where you survived turnovers, but massive defense to get this win?
Nasty defense. That defense came to play and won the game for us, essentially. And, we didn't take care of the football on offense. I think we had 4 turnovers, but it didn't matter. That defense was lights out.
How about Zack Moss tonight, who ran into the record books after 21 carries?
He's a stud. We love having him in the program. We're grateful he came back for his senior year, and he's making the most of it.
Right. And so, what do you take away from this game as you get ready to? Good job. As you get ready to continue in conference play, and just the way you grinded this thing out, and in the nasty weather, which had to play in your favor too.
I thought the guys handled the weather well. Just got to come back in on the Monday morning and get ready for the next guys. I mean, that's just how it works.
All right, Kyle. Thank you. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Well, Zack Moss gets a lot of headlines for his history tonight, but the Utah defensive line, they should get all the props, and Bradley and I was spectacular.
They were dominant. On first down, Ted, Arizona State averaged less than 2 yards. I mean, they dominated every phase, the defensive front, the backers, the back end. Bradley and I, he's an all-everything guy, absolute game wrecker. And for this team, they're mission-minded right now, and their mission ends up in Northern California in the Pac-12 title game. And right now, to me, they've been the most dominant team in this conference. We'll see if they can keep it going.
Yep, the remnants of the Muss, and they were terrific tonight. And on a tough night to be a fan here, cold and wet, the Muss was fabulous. And well done by the players to honor them. Utah will share the South Division lead tomorrow morning with the winner of the game to follow. And just the way they're playing, Yogi, there's, we understand now that the eye test is a big part of this. Their eye test pretty strong.
Yeah, I'd put it up against anybody in the country. What a blast to come and call it here in Rice-Eccles.
All right, thanks to our entire crew, especially hanging in on this wet night. Check us out on our pod this week. And we invite you to stay tuned as we send you from Salt Lake City with our crew led by Michael Molinari, Scott Barkey. For Lewis Johnson, Yogi Roth, Ted Robinson, Utah shares the division lead with the winner of Arizona and